As excited as I am.
LaFleur begins his fourth season as head coach.
It's always exciting just to get everybody back in the building. And I'll tell you what kind of got the juices going was just going to that soccer match the other night.
Packers GM Brian Gutekunst revealed the left tackle David Bakhtiari is on the PUP list after having another knee surgery this spring.
Dave had a very significant injury, much more than just an ACL. He did have another procedure in the offseason, but I think that, we're cautiously optimistic.
This is the third knee surgery for Bakhtiari in 19 months.
Obviously, had surgery in the offseason, cleaned it up. Concern level, low. Really like where I'm at, especially compared to where I was just overall last year.
And earlier this week, the Raiders' Davante Adams was asked what's it going to be like going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr.
I mean, anytime you change quarterbacks from, a Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer, you go, both are great players and great to be around.
Aaron Rodgers was asked what it'll be like going from Davante Adams to Alan Lazard.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough going from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. From Davante to Allen, it's going to be, a transition.
That's Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. From training camp in Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
No, you can't. Glad to have you. The best man, Mike Clemens, on the ground live up in Green Bay. We'll be talking with Mike a little bit later on at some point, I would assume. But the Mike Clemens Packer reports, green and gold reports, are back, and we're glad to have them. Good stuff from our buddy Mike Clemens. The phone number, 877-867-1670. And to those of you over on the Bud Light live stream, thanks for coming back. There were some issues here, so technical. I'm not quite sure exactly what happened. But it is back. It's up. It's running. It looks like everything is good. Looks like the numbers are good. So we'll see. Every now and then you just, something dies. Mechanically, technically, something just dies. So I apologize for it. So anyway, coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to hear some more. David Bakhtiari spoke, which was rather interesting. Also, Alan Lazard spoke. Mason Crosby, the veteran that is also on the PUP list, spoke. So all of that coming up in the next hour. Don't forget, we also are going to be talking with Mark Daniels. Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee is going to be joining us later on today. So we got a lot. We're full today. In the meantime, you've got all the trade rumors circulating, and one of them has now happened. The New York Yankees get the all-star outfielder Andrew Benintendi from the Kansas City Royals. They picked him up. It could be a flurry of moves ahead of next week's trade deadline. And the all-star from Kansas City, that was announced late last night. Yankees are sending 3 minor league pitching prospects to the Royals in exchange for the 28-year-old. So that deal gets done. The left-handed hitting Benintendi was named to his first career MLB All-Star game this season. And through yesterday, he's batting a career-best 320, 3 dingers, 39 RBIs, 788 OPS, and 93 games thus far this season. And he was eligible for free agency after the season, and it gives Yankees another outfield option alongside Aaron Judge and Aaron Hicks. Giancarlo Stanton, who has played 38 games in the outfield, expected to miss at least a couple of weeks after going on the IL this week with a left Achilles tendonitis. So Joey Gallo hitting 161 with a 103 strikeouts and 230 at-bats, also becoming a frequent target of fan boos in the Bronx. So they needed another guy, so they went after him. So the Yankees that's just the Yankee way. Just the Yankee way, that it's just, hey, we got a guy that's making a ton of money. He's down. We'll go get another guy. Well, we don't care what it is. We'll go get another guy. It's just, and they're using him for what you would assume would be a 3-week stretch, and then they're going to just basically mix him into the lineup. Whereas the Brewers, if they go out and get a bat like Benintendi's, he's an everyday guy. He's in the lineup damn near every day. The Yankees are like, we just need another guy. We need one for a couple of weeks. We'll go get him. Sure. So it's like, wow. When you go back some years, and I can't remember if it was Ken Maka or Ron Renicky that said it in an interview, who just said, you, as a Brewers fan or the manager or people in the front office, you just kind of feel like it's just not fair. You know? You just kind of feel like it's just not fair. This is the kind of monolith you're going up against. You don't have that ability like the Yankees to just we'll just go get a guy. Even if we only need him for a couple of weeks, we'll go get him. And you give up 3 prospects, no big deal. You'll pay this guy. And if you decide to, great. If you don't, no big deal. We can throw that money away. Where the Brewers, they've got guys in the old visors with their sleeves rolled up and the sleeve garters, and they're on those old punch machines trying to kind of calculate every penny and every dollar and where it all goes and what they're doing with it. And they're trying to figure it out for their budget. And the Yankees are like, budget? What? No, go get him. No problem. It just doesn't at times seem fair, you know, just because for lack of a better term, just because it is what it is. But that is the first domino to fall. You still keep waiting for Josh Bell. There's a few other guys that are out there on the trade market. You wait and see. You wait and see what's gonna materialize. But you know, don't we? You know that there's something in the works. That there's something in the works for the Brewers. You're just not quite sure what it is. You know, just not quite sure what it is. You're hoping the Brewers. I mean, like, look, you know, we know that San Diego, a leader in the race, they're hoping to land Soto right now. The Giants, their struggles could change come the deadline. They've got some things going on. The Brewers could be busy at the deadline. You know, with Benintendi now down, you're looking forward to the return of Freddie Peralta. But what else are they going to get? They, you know, obviously would like a bat, even though they're hitting the hell out of the baseball right now. There's a lot of thought about the Cubs, Ian Happ, Contreras, and company, what they're going to end up doing. So there's a lot going on right now in Major League Baseball. 877-867-1670. And don't forget the Juan Soto deal. Ohtani could be moved from the Angels. Luis Castillo, and like I mentioned, Wilson Contreras to be dealt to contenders. You got the Mets, the Dodgers, the Astros are all going to go all in, trying to boost their 2022 World Series hopes. And then there's the Brewers off to the side, just looking for some kind of deal, something, anything at this point that you can possibly grab onto to say, hey, we're in this thing too, you know? This one is from Anthony, who says, no faith in a wide receiving core and no faith in my Brewers. I'm glad the Brewers are starting to hit the baseball and pound it with regularity. I just don't think they're going to have enough. The Yankees and the Dodgers are always going to be top of the league because they've got the most money to spend. The wide receiving core is iffy at best. Aaron Rodgers can upplay it all he wants, but Alan Lazard is always going to be a second-tier wide receiver. I like him. I just don't think he has the chops to be there. Boy, there's a lot to absorb there, although it's just basically statements and thoughts. But the whole thing about Alan Lazard being suddenly a number one, until he is, I will agree with you. You know what I mean? I think we're popping up a lot of hope. I think there's a lot of people saying, yeah, this is great. On paper, he's hitting them down the sidelines. He's making great throws in training camp, but there's really nobody on him. You're not talking about pads. You're not talking about games. You're not talking about any of that as of right now. So I'm not. I think I think collectively they're good. They're not great. And you really have to hope for the maturity of the rookies, a very fast maturity of the rookies. And then Sammy Watkins has to have an injury-free comeback year for this thing really to matriculate the way you want it. That's just my opinion. But I don't think the offense is going to change dramatically. I think it's going to change, but not dramatically. Stay tuned. We got a lot more to get to. A lot more. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at New Mail Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. One phone number to get to, 414-455-4451, whether it's ED, low T, or you just want to start looking better, shedding some pounds. 414-455-4451. That's the New Mail Medical Center. More to come coming up on the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
Boston to take on the Red Sox. Packers training camp got underway yesterday in Green Bay. One big question is the status of David Bakhtiari. The offensive tackle has played just in one game since tearing his ACL on December 31st of 2020, and he talks on the process of getting back on the field.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's my nightmare that I have to live. I don't know how many days it's been, but I'm just excited to wake up one day.
Bakhtiari is optimistic, but says he's not putting a timetable on his return.
No expectations, taking it every day at a time. Like where I'm at, appreciate it, and excited to play again.
Also catching up with the media would be Aaron Rodgers. He talks about his motivation to come back.
Just tapping into the love of this game, love of my teammates. You know, that's what gets me up in the morning, coming in here and loving what I do, having that gratitude for this opportunity.
Training camp continues on today.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Packers Super Bowl winning head coach Mike Holmgren, as well as five-time Pro Bowler wide receiver Sterling Sharp, have been selected as finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2023. And finally, yesterday saw the conclusion of Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show. Good to have you today. Well, I tell you what, the weather doesn't get much better than what we're going to run into today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. Not going to rain really until Sunday night into Monday. So we have got a nice stretch ahead of us. Get out and enjoy it. Hopefully it's like this all throughout the Wisconsin State Fair. I'm looking forward to that. A week from today, we're going to be live from the Wisconsin State Fair Park, the Budweiser Pavilion, brought to you by Bud Light. And we're going to be there doing Thursday and Friday to kick off the Wisconsin State Fair. I can't wait. I love the fair. I just do. Ben, have you been to the Wisconsin State Fair yet?
No, I've not made it down there. I'm usually traveling by this time during the summer, or just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to make it down there.
Just chilling
often.
and playing golf?
It's kind of my fault.
Now, here's
lazy.
the thing. Think about this for a minute. If you wanted to, the house is wide open the week after that during the fair. So if you wanted to, you can crash here.
We'll see. I mean,
you guys, you can do the show right here in the studio.
I'm very bad at committing to things.
I
No,
know
but then
you are.
someone has to sit back here in this studio. And I heard about what happened on Tuesday with the guest lineup. You know, things got to run smooth.
That's okay. Yeah, but the show went on.
Oh, I'm sure.
The show went on. So you're good to go. Not a bad way to go. But Ebo can go downstairs and lift in the gym. Rowdy can do what Rowdy does. You can hanker down at the bar, either inside or outside. You guys would have the run of the place, man. You guys would be able
What,
to
do you
do
think
all
I'm the alcoholic of the group?
No, as a matter of fact, my assumption is you'd be bartending more for Ebo than anything. And at some point or another, I'd have to probably install an elevator so we could put him in it so we could then lift him up to the second floor to get him into bed.
He's actually, Bill, on his way to Vegas as we speak.
Is he really? Good
Fingers
for him.
crossed that he gets home in one piece.
Good for him. That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, if he's heading to Vegas, good luck with that. I don't necessarily, put it this way, I don't necessarily say that, hey, we hope that Ebo's okay. I think what we should probably do is look at it and say, God, I hope Vegas is the same when he leaves. Because Ebo can tear it up. I think we all know that. So anyway, Good stuff. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mark Daniels, WNFL, is going to be joining us. We're going to hear from him. And we're going to hear a little bit later on from Mason Crosby, Alan Lazard. But yesterday, we had our own Mike Clemens on the ground in Green Bay, as he is all throughout training camp, which, by the way, Mike, is brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel Green Bay. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. And he caught up with David Bakhtiari. All the thoughts are with Bakhtiari right now as to whether or not he's going to be able to come back. And if so, when. They didn't seem too optimistic, Brian Gutekunst anyway, by saying that he was not going to commit to Bakhtiari being ready to go week one, first week of the regular season, which also raised a few eyebrows. We're over 500 days now since that injury. That's a long time, going on almost a year and a half. And he has had a couple of procedures, as we say, done since the initial surgery, since the initial injury. A lot of fluid, a lot of problems. Mike Clemens and others caught up with David Bakhtiari yesterday. Let's take a listen to that conversation to see what Bakhtiari had to say.
Where are you at? What happened? And what's your concern?
Talked to Goody. Obviously, had surgery in the offseason. Cleaned it up. Concern level, low. Really like where I'm at, especially compared to where I was just overall last year. I think he kind of hit it on the head. No expectations. Taking it every day at a time. Like where I'm at. Appreciate it. And excited to play again.
When did you have to have it done? Was it before the offseason program, in the interim here, before camp started?
Yeah, it was like right about when we started up again.
When you started up in
for OTAs, yeah.
Okay.
What happened after the Detroit game? He had mentioned that it didn't feel right the way that he responded to you getting in that game. What exactly was the issue there?
We all wanted to see where it was at, and when I went out there, I mean, I wouldn't say we were in the best situation to begin with, and then it was depending on how I was going to respond. Obviously didn't respond in the right direction, which was a huge bummer for me, not being able to play in the playoff game, but something unfortunate, and that's where that was.
Is it just frustrating that you're still dealing with this? Obviously, everybody heals differently. It's not your fault. You're working hard, but is it frustrating?
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's my nightmare that I have to live. I don't know how many days it's been, but I'm just excited to wake up one day.
You said the other day, is there any sort of timeline or just not putting yourself in
I mean, already been briefed by everyone. Tell me what y'all are going to say. I know everyone loves timelines. When I'm ready, I'll be out there. And what I can say is I do feel really good. I feel normal. My knee feels normal, and that's the biggest plus. Now it's just getting that normal feeling again when I play football. So that's with the load, the stress, the strength. But we're not really in an ACL issue. That's been actually a long time ago. We put that chapter to bed. It's just there's other issues that we're navigating around, things I'm learning, and it's been like I said, it's been my nightmare. So it's something I have to live with.
David, what's challenging about the good days? Knowing that you feel good, but that you can't push yourself to a certain point that maybe you want to push yourself to progress.
You ever driven a sports car before? No. Okay. Well, imagine driving a sports car and keeping it in the first gear. Yeah.
David, you mentioned it feels normal now. Did at any point after the ACL surgery, did it also feel normal?
No.
This is the first time you felt that since the original injury?
There's an idea of what I was fully expecting what new normal would be. And I was like, okay, it's not. I talked to numerous people that have gone through this before. And, Brian, someone I leaned on heavily. I'm like, what's the new normal? What's it like? And I thought, okay, this is just what I'm supposed to feel and how it's supposed to react. And now I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, okay. There is back to how it used to feel. So that's the most promising thing.
And that's where you're at now, just to be clear.
Where
you felt before the ACL.
I would say I really enjoy how my knee functions, operates, and moves. And it's not like I would say how I was dealing with it last year. It's hard to describe. I think only people who've gone through it maybe will have an idea, especially when it's not cooperating with you. It just didn't. There was just stuff. It almost felt like blockage. It just was weird. It was really weird.
So did you feel 100% going into that Detroit game?
No. I mean, but last year, my whole thing is there's no excuses. Like when I step between the white lines and put my jersey on, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've played sick. I played with broken ribs before. I played with hip flexor, I mean, all that stuff. It's just there's no need for me to express it to any of y'all and give any fuel to any team that we're going against. So that's why I said last year, if I step between the white lines, I'm 100% ready to go. And that's the same thing when I step out there again this year.
Did you read against the Lions? Did you do any damage?
I'm not going to get into that. Like that's not something I'm just going to talk about.
So David, the timeline then, if you weren't able to go in the playoff game, and then this third procedure wasn't done until right around, you said OTAs started. What was happening in the interim there? Were you hoping that it would just feel better, or did something set you back while you were doing your off-season work?
No, I just do what I was told. Take time off, go away. I was like, great, okay. It's new for me. Go by a beach, don't do anything. I'm like, okay.
Dave, that was obviously a test in Detroit to see how the knee felt. Do you feel that, I don't want to say whether you're playing, do you feel like if you wouldn't have played, you would have had a chance realistically to play in the playoffs?
It's an if question. So you could write any answer you want.
What's your answer? I don't know how you're reading it.
I mean, I'm not going to get into ifs. That what I did is what I did, and that's where that was, and now we are right here.
You say you feel like you're feeling better when you're in age. So what's the next steps? The next steps they have to go through in order to play again?
Strength, load, not only physically but physiologically. Just getting the knee joint to handle different stresses, different loads, and just getting it to play football again. So that's just slowly chipping away.
David, I know you can probably understand there's concern over your future. Are you at all concerned? Will you play again?
No, I thought about this. It's a couple of things kind of went to my mind. It's actually a really good question. It was I remember when I was playing. It sucks I have to say that, but I remember thinking man, this is getting pretty easy. And it was fun. And I kind of would say let's make it a little bit challenging. By God, I got that answer. So this is definitely the most challenging thing I've had to go through. But then I was recently talking to my wife, and I thought about how I started my career, and not even just here, but just like when I put on pads, it was no one really thought I'd be where I was. So it's kind of cool to feel that again. I mean, you can say or not say it, but I know that those questions are out there, and I'm like, this is cool because it's like I get to relive that same story again, and I made the choice back then. I get to make a choice again. So
that's a very clever answer, but didn't really answer the question. So,
well, the first time when I had everyone doubt me,
I'm just asking: can you write the same ending to this chapter that you did to that?
Why? That's
play.
I mean, I can't play. I'm not a fortune teller. All I know is I'm going to do the same thing I did last time, and it's going to be fun because I get to control my narrative.
David, did you feel any pressure going into that Detroit game to play?
I'm not going to try and pin people against anyone, so I'm not answering that question.
About the mentality of you going into that game, not so much the physical part of it and how your knee felt out there, but every athlete talks about that first game back and how it's sort of a bug in the back of their mind, the injury. Was that part of it at all for you, or were you able to put that out of your mind pretty well in Detroit?
Yeah, no, I mean, when there was no brace, I knew what I had going into it, and that sucked. I think, to my eyes, I see the plays where that was prevalent, where I just couldn't do certain things I wanted to do, but did a pretty good performance with that. Very limited snaps, just it wasn't right, and then the next days it responded in a way where, I mean, not even the game. I mean, I can't practice, so.
How do you feel about the team looking to you to get back and play at the level they're expecting?
They should have that expectation. I mean, I have that expectation. Just like I said, when I walk in between the white lines, I'm 100%. I'm good to go. It doesn't matter how much time I've had off. Mentally, I need to be sharp. Physically, I need to be ready to play. And there's a standard that I set for myself, let alone like what I was taught about how the offensive line needs to play when I was here. And there's no drop off. So I expect to go out there and play my level, my brand of ball. And if not, then I need to take on and be accountable for where that is.
What's it been like for you? I mean, you just got married and said you're going to be a father. You're going through all this happy stuff in your personal life.
well, your professional life, we're having to deal with this. But what's that balance been like for you?
It's been nice to lean on it. I wish I could always say all those days are happy days for me, because those are a lot of awesome things happening outside. So trying to separate those two. Like I said, it's been I could talk about the situation. For me, it's like I've just been living a very long nightmare. But outside of work, things have been the exact opposite of it. So it's been like a fairy tale for me. So it's just making sure that the nightmare stays at work.
You said you've talked to a lot of people about how to deal with the new normal. But have they given you any advice on how to deal with the process emotionally, mentally?
Yeah, we have great outlets here. Team therapist, Dr. Carr. I mean, he's been fantastic. I've actually had a conversation with him, and didn't really feel like I needed it in the beginning, but I didn't know how long it was going to be. So eventually, you run against the wall enough times, you're going to start cracking. So he's been a great outlet for me. Can say nothing but awesome things. And for mentally, this has been a lot. So I've always been able to kind of literally run away from this type of things. I've always loved like training, sweating, playing football to kind of get out any type of stuff. When it's like you have to find new outlets and you cannot do any of that stuff, that's been, I'd say, the biggest challenge, but something that I have a new toolbox. So I'm pretty pumped about.
What's some of the best advice you've been given on how to handle that?
Thanks for putting me on the spot. I mean, just finding, how I found new ways of outlets. Reading, calming myself, knowing that enough is okay. I've always been someone who likes to do almost too much, so enough's okay. So just those are the first things that come to my mind.
There you go. That is David Bakhtiari speaking to the media. Not going to get into the details as to what happened, but basically told, go away, don't do anything. Let's get this thing figured out. He feels really good as to where he's at. So that was optimistic, without a doubt. But still, obviously, not practicing, not ready to go yet. But I walk away from that conversation feeling more optimistic about David Bakhtiari than I think I have since they announced that he was going to come back in that Detroit game. Because he sounds like he's in a better place now, which means there's probably more positivity regarding that knee issue than in the recent past. So, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Hey, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Their 2022-2023 season about ready to get underway, coming up here in a few months. And if you're looking for tickets, if you're looking for a great group outing, taking the kids, whether it's getting into the end zone, so to speak, and being up close and personal on the glass with a group of people from, say, a birthday party or a corporate response, whatever it happens to be, go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com, MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. And catch yourself some good AHL hockey action. They are the minor league club for the parent team that is the Nashville Predators. And you could see the guys of today being the stars of tomorrow in the NHL. Good stuff from the Admiral. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you on board today. Hey, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling, man, over the next, next couple of weeks. Holy mackerel. One of the places I go all the time, and I rack it up when it comes to the rewards, and that's Quick Trip. Our friends at Quick Trip, they have, right now they got the Mountain Dew contest. Stop in. You have a shot at winning some serious cash with Mountain Dew. How about what is it, the Mega Millions? Ben, did you see what the Mega Millions is up to? I think it's the Mega Millions. It's over $1 billion.
Oh, yeah. Zach and I actually at the bar one of the nights in Indy, I made a couple purchases there and talked about what we would buy with the money that we won, but we didn't win. I don't think we got any number.
Yeah, right. Well, nobody won. So it's over $1 billion. Now, the cash buyout, I think, is like 700 or 800 million, something like that, if you take the cash up front. But oh my God, that would be, that's like mic drop money. Just see ya, just out the door you go. It's funny because, everybody, I think everybody dares to dream. Everybody looks at it and says, what do you think? What would you do? I personally, I know it's crazy, but I would end up just building the studio the way I want it. I mean, in every facet. I would just wholeheartedly just say, here we go. We're going to build a studio, or I'd buy like a nearby separate building to completely host the radio show. I wouldn't stop working though. I don't think I'd stop working, because I think when I'd stop working, now granted, I could maybe do the show from different areas. I could still get up on vacation. I could still go do it on islands or what have you, but I don't think I would stop working. I know everybody always says, oh, I'd quit my job, I'd walk out. I love doing this every day. So I don't think I'd quit my job. I think I'd still work. Might just do it a little bit differently.
I might.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah. I mean, put 700 million in the bank.
Right.
I would probably.
Yeah, that's an obscene amount of money to win for one person.
Plus, I wouldn't have the Saudi government giving it to me. So
correct.
I feel better about it.
Correct. I look at it this way. Could you see us doing a live broadcast, say, from St. Andrews as we wing over to play golf?
Huh. Well, if that's involved, then I would probably keep the job.
I would see. That's what I'm saying. That's what I would probably do. I would set up these exotic locations to be able to go do the show. And the one thing that I would do, and if this is in my dare to dream, I would buy the space and build it at Super Bowl to do the show. And it would be so much bigger and better even than say what the Pat McAfee set had this past year at Super Bowl. It would be obscene. And we would pay, because a lot of these athletes that go on some of these shows, on these big network shows, most of them, unless they've got a sponsor that is really trying to pimp them hard to do some of these shows, most of these guys get paid. Oh, I dole it out. We'd be obscene with the money. That would be like a no-brainer. And we would then just, do whatever we wanted to do. We just take the show on the road. If we're going to, we want to go buy a resort up north, we'll go buy a resort up north. We'll do that, if we want. But the first thing I think I would do is, I know that they are looking to build a new Fisher House out in Madison. And we are, as a board member, I know we are back and forth on the property. We've got the permission to do it. We just, we've been given the runaround, so to speak, via the location. We're kind of waiting to finalize those details because everybody agrees they need it. Nobody can agree where to put it. And there's certain specifications that needs to be put in. So we're currently kind of quasi fundraising because Madison needs one. They do a lot of cancer research and such at UW-Madison and out at the VA out there. And it's an unbelievably well-run medical facility. So they need one. And we want to do one. So I think the first thing I would do is, whatever the land is nearby, I think I'd purchase the land and purchase the house and just have it built. So we don't have to worry about fundraising, and then just put an allotment of money into the charity to say, okay, you guys are sustaining now for the rest of your lives. Let's move on. Let's not have to worry about fundraising anymore. So that's the first thing I think I'd do, because there's going to be charitable entities of that. But after that, I think we could be doing the the morning show, my show. Maybe we even bring Grant Bills into this. I think we end up building a floating studio to where in the summertime we're on a lake somewhere, whether it's in Madison or out in this area, Winnebago, up near La Crosse somewhere. I think that's what we do. Or maybe we buy bars throughout the state, so when we visit these cities, we have our own bar to go to. That might not be a bad way to go either, like sports bars all over.
Don't have to sell the ads. I mean, that'd free up in a lot of ways. You know how some programs have like the head coach presented by this?
Yes.
Michigan does it because they're
Yep.
Michigan.
Yep.
I would make it Wisconsin head football coach Paul Chryst presented by Ben Kenny.
There you go. Yeah, and we would buy the Illinois broadcast just so we could say Brett Bielema presented by Zach Halpern. We would do that.
Pay Brett to unblock Zach.
That would be awesome. We could do that. That'd be kind of cool. Now see, we're all sitting back today and we're doing the Dare to Dream methodology of what would I do if. So we're all probably going to head out and buy some Mega Millions and Powerball and all that kind of stuff and see if we can hit that. And here's the thing. Like, I go to Quick Trip and buy my stuff, and Quick Trips, they used to post it. They don't do it as much anymore, but they used to post their winners for everything from the Mega Cash and local lotteries and stuff. And you'd see 50,000 and 20,000 and whatever, 5,500 hit at certain locations. But doesn't it always seem to be some crazy little obscure place that sold the winning ticket, some mom and pop, someplace, where, oh yeah, I bought my ticket at, and you'd go, where the hell is that? I was traveling. I was on my way to visit my mom in prison. And just outside the prison is, the Funkasaurus's, bar and grill. And they sell lottery tickets there. And I went to Funkasaurus when I was on my way to see my mom in prison. And I bought one ticket. Now I can afford a lawyer, and it's going to be that guy that wins. Now I can afford a lawyer and I can get mom out of prison and maybe get her another case. And then when mom gets out, I'm going to get her out of the house that has wheels, and I'm going to buy her a really good one. We're going to get a double-decker shed, a she shed, and we're going to put mom in that. And I'm going to buy her a dog and maybe a pickup truck. And the first thing she's going to get when she gets out, we're going to buy her a camo hat and a camo heated vest. So when mom sits in the tree stand dipping Copenhagen and on a deer hunt, mom won't be cold. That's the person that'll win this. They won't know what to do with it. And then in about 5 years, we're going to see them on, I won the lottery and now I'm broke. That's what we're going to see them on. So good luck to whoever's mother is in prison. Let's do this. Mark Daniels going to join us next to the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket.
Want
This
to make
is
your
the
summer
Bill
even
Michaels
better?
Show on
Potawatomi
the
Hotel
Wisconsin.
and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of 500,000 in cash and prizes. Over 100 winners every Thursday. For your chance to win, just play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. So go ahead, book that beach vacation, that up north cottage getaway, or make it a staycation to remember. Your summer just got even better. Only at Potawatomi.
Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on day 2 of the Packers training camp. Brewers off today after a pound-em-out homestand. We'll get more into that coming up in just a little bit, though. Joining us right now on the hotline, our buddy Mark Daniels from WNFL in Green Bay, on the ground in Green Bay. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm good, Bill. How are you? Happy training camp.
Happy training camp to you as well. It's kind of like Happy New Year. So, first of all, let's start off with Bakhtiari. He spoke to the media, which was kind of nice because I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So, what did you take away from it?
He says he's not concerned. He says it feels better. I mean, he feels almost healed, at least from the ACL standpoint, but just the collateral damage from that snap job, and New Year's Eve is still bothering him. There's no question. I don't think he's going to become an alarmist. He'll just be as, positive as he can and try and do what the training and rehab staff tells him to do to get back as soon as possible. And until then, we'll have to wait and see. But, if I'm just the rooting side, I'm thinking, boy, if we don't see him in a couple of weeks, this offense and especially the offensive line, it could be a real state of flux when they go to the U.S. Bank Stadium.
So I wanted to ask you about the offensive line because Josh Nijman working at left tackle today, who did yeoman's work last year. I mean, fantastic job. And with the shuffling that's going on, even though Elton Jenkins, as they say, is a little bit ahead of schedule, give me your thoughts on the flux of the offensive line.
Nothing to get alarmed about. LaFleur was asked about it plenty, before practice today. What with Nijman over at left tackle, we have Jake Hansen, remember the forgotten center from Oregon. He's been hanging around hurt and who knows what. All of a sudden, he's at right guard. And then Royce Newman, who played inside, is getting kicked over to right tackle for a look-see. But, Jenkins and Bakhtiari's absence has a lot to do with it. Rasheed Walker, the draft choice, is out. Their numbers are just down. In fact, LaFleur said, it's kind of forcing our hand on how we're looking at guys, moving guys around early in camp. We just don't have a lot, and it's even shortening some team periods because of it. So something they just got to work through, but I don't think anything should be written in stone now about which best 5 are eventually going to be there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I know there's a lot of just kind of see what happens going on right now. Speaking of that, the wide receiving corps is still receiving a lot of scrutiny, and rightfully so, but it was kind of tongue-in-cheek when Aaron Rodgers said yesterday, going from one Hall of Famer to the next, talking about Alan Lazard. Now, he's not a Hall of Famer, but we've talked a lot about it. What is the vibe that you get right now at training camp? And obviously, with no Christian Watson, it's a little bit difficult to tell what the whole group is going to be.
Yeah, I know. No Sammy either. So it's going to be interesting to see how this develops. They made splash plays yesterday, which was kind of good for them, obviously, because it's just confidence-building kind of stuff. But I think it was Romeo Doubs who I put it best when I was asking him about, how you guys are, dealing with the room in light of the, spotlight that's on the room. And he says, yeah, we know it's a noise, but we just want to become the next room and try and ignore it as much as possible. And I think it's a good attitude. There has been a succession of receivers to glorious quarterback play here, and a day and a half of practice in, I'm not, convinced that the run has stopped. So we'll see.
Give me the thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and his mood, his optimism. And he talked a lot about love and caring for the guys and the usual spiel, but obviously he's got life after Devontae now to contend with. So give me your thoughts as to the way he sounded about what he has to throw to.
Well, job one set back in the spring was learn the plays, and then we'll get to my plays and the language and the checks and everything else that's going to have to go into this thing as they work themselves through the playbook. It's going to be a process, probably unsightly at times, but I remember talking to Randall Cobb, who said, Rodgers really is into this kind of a challenge at this stage of his career. He really wants to continue to produce and help these guys become a really good receiving corps. And not just because he's a really good quarterback, but he wants them, he's looking at them first before in the mirror. So I think that's a good thing. I think there is a genuine appreciation for the guys in the locker room. He's just still so out there, coming in as Cameron Poe with this and, all that stuff last year too at Halloween. So, he's just such an interesting personality, 24/7. I'm never sure what to do with this guy anymore.
I thought it was interesting, Matt LaFleur's opening press conference, when he didn't want to slide anybody from before, but he said he's learned more about special teams than he ever thought he'd know, and talking specifically about Rich Bisaccia. I don't know what he has or hasn't fully committed as far as starters go and depth players go to special teams, but it certainly sounds like that whatever start they're off to, at least internally, is an impressive start, because I don't really think they have anywhere to go but up.
Yeah, I mean, Floor had a first-time coordinator in Maurice Drayton last year, and we know what happened there. But, in the last, how many months since Bisaccia was hired, he's gotten his 20 years of experience crammed into LaFleur's head, I'm sure. So, I mean, that put an imprint on there. And I'll see if it carries forward into the talent that they've assembled to try and carry out what Bisaccia wants. And that's still going to be a process. But, he's got a low bar. Let's just not screw it up and then start making some things happen.
And then you've got the rookies, the guys that say, you had mentioned them, we're just trying to create our own room. We're just trying to do our own thing. Rookies getting indoctrinated. Some guys take to it right away. Some guys, it takes a little while to adjust to life in the NFL. Have you seen either or?
Not a lot of it. I mean, the top two picks were in the national championship game for a Super Bowl-like preview week, and Watson's been in championship games. I haven't seen any big guys yet, but there's still an assimilation process and so much to learn about just how to conduct themselves and everything else that goes along with it. But from the football acumen, I think a lot of these guys are, pretty well acclimated to what they're in for over the next couple of days. But, and again, training camps today, Bill, don't look at anything like the training camps when I started watching these guys. Holy cow.
Mark Daniels, WNFL at Green Bay, joining us at Mark Daniels, WNFL. You can find him over on Twitter. I want to go back to Matt LaFleur's comments. I mean, obviously they played things very close to the vest, but in talking about the defense, it seems like there's a lot of comparisons going back to the defense that was 2010, 2011, that ended up winning a Super Bowl, that played extremely well the next year before ultimately giving it up to the Giants. Is this the best defense on paper since then?
Yeah, but the paper is, it's not papyrus. It's not going to convince me long-term yet. They've got a lot of talent over there, and they've invested millions. And, this is a Wall Street kind of defense here. They need the return on investment. And so I don't see any signs why not. There are concerns beyond the two edge guys of Preston and Rashawn, but other than that, I think they've beefed up the D-line, which was a real necessity. The secondary's gotten a lot of snaps, Eric Stokes included, together. Then Alexander's back. So there's a lot to look forward to. Now Joe Barry's got to just get some more out of him. Don't forget, they've got still gashed at times on the run. And while the overall numbers wound up pretty good, this team had some frighteningly difficult stretches they had to overcome. So, but yeah, there are pieces there. No question.
You talked about some of the guys that got gashed last year because they did give up points. They were one of the lower scoring defenses when it came to points last year. So is the concentration this year? I mean, obviously you want to stop the run. I mean, it all starts there and then you kind of work your way down. But also, is there going to be a concentration on turnovers, on creating turnovers, and not just punching the ball out via fumbles? But this team is not huge when it comes to picks. They kind of come in bunches.
Yeah, they do. I think it's a big year for Darnell Savage. And the Packers had their eyes open, with Devondre Campbell going, wow, an inside linebacker can intercept passes. So they've got a lot of different ways to deploy a lot of different interesting people. And I think certainly takeaways and red zone and situational football defense are still the priorities. Third down, get off the field. Inside the 20, no more than 3. And let's give the offense a few more cracks at it. Those 3 things make great defenses, whether you're giving up 190 yards rushing or 360 yards passing a game. So
the one thing, Mark, that a lot of people are talking about is the depth or lack thereof, defensively speaking. Is that the biggest area of concern, maybe?
a little bit. Like I said, outside linebacker, it's the Garvin, Leila, Darius Hamiltons, and it's just and Anigbari, the rookie, it didn't just wow me. And secondary beyond those top 3 corners, got to find somebody. But there's a couple in the mix, including some former Raiders they really like. Keyshawn Nixon, who's out today, by the way. But just those kind of back end pieces on the D. You're right. Need to be solidified one way or the other. Not here today. Might be here, off somebody else's roster.
Always good, Mark. Enjoy it. Get back to watching what's going on via the training camp, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
All right, see you, Bill.
Appreciate it, pal. There you go. WNFL's own Mark Daniels joining us on the hotline. Mark Daniels, at Mark Daniels, WNFL, at Mark Daniels, WNFL, and a good report there. But just a lot of depth stuff, just a lot of issues about this is the time when, as much as we can talk about it, you're just trying to figure things out. You kind of know who your starters are. You know who the guys are you're waiting to return. But as of right now, if you had to start today, who would it be? And you got to start going through those depth issues. You got to start looking at guys that do make positive plays, negative plays, specifically guys that start out on the bubble, like the extras, the roster fillers. Who ends up kind of surprising you? Because usually one of those guys or two of those guys find their way onto a roster because they just kind of come out of nowhere. You do your due diligence and you track down a guy that you think can make plays, or maybe was in a small program but really stood out but has a great acumen, and you bring those guys in, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a minute, where'd that guy come from? And you find those diamonds in the rough, kind of like a Tremont Williams or a Sam Shields, and some of those guys that end up, kind of opening your eyes. Even Donald Driver, who was a 7th round draft choice. You look for those guys to be able to, kind of muster things, so to speak. So anyway, let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We got our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They want to remind you right now, 4 years, no interest. 4 years, no interest going on. And if you're looking for that, by all means, if you're looking to say do your whole house, that's probably the way to go. Or maybe you're just looking for a few windows, 1 or 2, maybe a patio door. You can get some money off of those situations, $250 off per window. If you go with a slider window, $400 off per window. Not a bad way to go, right? Huh? Good stuff. So check out our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Different options right now. If you're looking to upgrade your windows, upgrade your doors, upgrade your entry system prior to the cold weather getting here, which we all know at some point it's going to be creeping back into the state of Wisconsin, hopefully later rather than sooner. But go to PellaWI.com. That is Pella, P-E-L-L-A, PellaWI.com. See for yourself. Go to PellaWI.com. And we're going to, kind of let you know that they're good people and they add a lot of value to your home. PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI, 855-PELLA-WI. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Smell those steaks on the grill? Summertime is grilling time. Get your steaks shipped directly to you. Go to ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzieFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held their first practice in helmets and shorts. All the players, except the quarterbacks, now wearing a padded headgear over their helmets in practice. The NFL trying to cut down on concussions. One player not participating is rookie wide receiver Christian Watson, who's on the PUP list after minor knee surgery last month. Will it be hard for him to learn from the sidelines? Packers head coach Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a challenge. No question, because there's nothing like reps, especially full speed reps. I think he's been pretty impressive in terms of how fast he was able to pick everything up. He's working hard, but there's still nothing like those game reps, whether it's preseason reps or practice reps.
Left tackle David Bakhtiari had another procedure on his knee during OTAs. Aaron Rodgers suffered a torn ACL while playing basketball in high school. How concerned is he for his friend Bakhtiari?
Well, I mean, as somebody who's had a knee injury since they were 16 years old, I know how difficult rehab can be and different procedures, and maybe never feeling like it's 100%. But I think Dave has learned a lot over the last year about his knee and about how to take care of it the best that he can.
And another player on the PUP is place kicker Mason Crosby.
I had my knee got a little tweaked there in OTAs, and just trying to manage that.
So did that require surgery?
Yeah, it did. It was, just a minor scope thing. I like to say it's like an oil change.
That's Packers kicker Mason Crosby. From training camp in Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Back, Bill Michaels Show, and our guy Mike Clemens right there. He is on the ground in Green Bay. Let's go to Green Bay and talk to Mike now. Not yet. Okay, Mike will be giving us a buzz here shortly. Hopefully shortly. Mike is scheduled to be coming on the air with us here. I know he's got some stuff for us, so we'll check in with Mike coming up here momentarily. But we'll have Mike on. If you want to give us a shout, always the phone number, 877-867-1670. Coming up a little bit later on today, we're going to hear from Brett Bielema, the back and forth between Zach Heilprin, Ben Kenny, and Brett Bielema. We've got some other stuff from Big Ten Media Day. Brewers got a nice, or I should say an interesting piece written by Adam McCalvey we're going to talk about, where the Brewers had a meeting, and it seems to have really kind of been taken to heart by many of the guys inside that clubhouse. And we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Plus, you're going to hear from Mason Crosby, plus Alan Lazard. So you got those coming up as well. Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee is going to be joining us after the top of the last hour of the program. So we got a lot going on today. A lot of good stuff today. And we'll be checking in with Mike Clemens, hopefully momentarily here, relatively soon. By the way, going back to the Brewers, there was a hitters meeting coming out of the All-Star break. It seems to have worked. The Brewers averaged 8.4 runs in their 5 wins during the homestand. 8.4 runs during the homestand. And they drew 31 walks. 31 in that series, or in the 2 series to start the second half of the season. 10 walks yesterday. 10 of them came yesterday against Twins pitchers. The way we played offense all season, you hope you get some rewards for it sometimes. Brewer manager Craig Counsell said, today we certainly did. We got a bunch of men on base through patience, and we got some homers after that. That's a good way to score runs, obviously, because there's not a lot of solo shots. They're big game changers. We got a couple of those today. Throughout the opening homestand, hitters referenced their meeting coming out of the break with players and staff, including hitting coaches Connor Dawson and Ozzie Timmons, along with Matt Erickson. Pre-series hitters meetings, they're kind of commonplace, but this one was somewhat expanded. Dawson said to analyze the first half in which the Brewers led Major League Baseball in pitches per plate appearance was rather interesting. I want to get back into this, but let's do this. Let's go north now, up to Green Bay, and talk to our own Mike Clemens standing by at Packers training camp. Michael!
Hey, Bill.
Hey, what you got going on?
Well, day 2 at camp, they're just trying things out. But we talked yesterday about offensive line. David Bakhtiari not even on the field today doing rehab after he talked to us at his locker about his experience. So they went with Yash Nyman, a left tackle, to fill in for Bakhtiari. But today they moved him to right tackle. Royce Newman, who was the right guard last year, kind of struggled. It looked like he made a couple of mistakes in practice. They moved him back home to right guard, and they put in the rookie, Zach Tom, in a left tackle today with the ones. And I thought he looked pretty good. We talked about this yesterday when he was running the left tackle with Jordan Love. So that's an interesting development that they're trying out on the Packers offensive line.
I know Sean Ryan, I talked with Wayne Larrabee a while ago, and they said Sean Ryan is really, they feel that he's got all the attributes to possibly be a tackle as well. Do you see that at all?
I think so, but I also saw a rep where I think it was Jordan Love at quarterback, but they had Sean playing left guard. So you got both rookies there, Ryan and Tom, lining up on the left side. But LaFleur made this emphasis today, Bill. Like right now, I can't teach versatility. These guys have to find a home first, so they're going to get to try out at a couple of different spots. But between now and when they put the pads on next week, they'd like the guys to figure out what it actually is their identities, get that part of the installation down. Then we can talk about working on your backup possibilities later in camp.
As you were standing yesterday in front of David Bakhtiari, which was a great conversation, give me your takeaway.
He was much more forthcoming in January when he said, look, Aaron Rodgers said, man, you got to get some snaps in this Lions game so that you're 100% for the playoffs. So he did. And the next day, Brian Gutekunst is telling us flat out, yeah, he did not respond well to those 27 snaps. And that might have led to eventually waiting 2 or 3 months. Is it healing? Is it getting any better? It didn't. And he had to have his 3rd knee surgery in 19 months. He's not talking about that aspect now. He's trying to move forward. He says he's feeling, better, but man, what a long saga. And maybe the team, the trainers, him have learned things not to do when you're trying to come back from an ACL.
Mike, good stuff as always. We're going to chat again soon. A whole lot coming up the rest of the day. Lily's Allen about an hour from now, but thanks as always, pal.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, buddy. There you go. Mike Clemens on the ground in Green Bay at practice. They're moving guys offensively on the line specifically all over, trying to find guys getting into the right niche, without a doubt. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Dwayne's Cover It All, the best canvas and upholstery supplier that there is. It does great work, whether it's a canvas for your business, a new cover for your boat, whatever it happens to be, or maybe just recovering office furniture. Get a hold of Dwayne at dwaynescoveritall.com, DUANES, dwaynescoveritall.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it's day 2 of Packers training camp. Yesterday, we learned that David Bakhtiari had another procedure on the same knee. He tore the ACL in back at the end of the 2020 season. It was a third one, and it's what kept the former All-Pro tackle out of the offseason program and has him currently on the physically unable to perform list.
Concern level, low. Really like where I'm at, especially compared to where I was just overall last year. I think he kind of hit it on the head. No expectations, taking it every day at a time. Like where I'm at. Appreciate it and excited to play again.
Bakhtiari admitted it's been a tough road and one he's still traveling.
Oh, it's a nightmare. My nightmare that I have to live. I don't know how many days it's been, but I'm just excited to wake up one day.
Meanwhile, kicker Mason Crosby underwent a knee scope 2 weeks ago. He's hopeful to be ready for the regular season. Other key players currently sidelined include wide receivers Christian Watson and Sammy Watkins, offensive lineman Elton Jenkins, and tight end Robert Tunyon. After today, Packers will take tomorrow off before the third practice of camp on Saturday. Turning to Wisconsin, they're going to get fall camp going next week. Coach Paul Chris said yesterday that they are relatively healthy heading into camp and likes where running back Ches Malusi is in his return from a torn ACL. He'll be opens the year September 3rd against Illinois State.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Brewers were getting the day off after finishing off a sweep with the Twins yesterday. Rowdy Tellez hit 2 3-run homers. Crew has won 5 of 6 to start the second half. They'll open a series in Boston tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, from Zach Heil Print.
How we looking? Bill Michaels Show. On the air, we are glad to have you. We just had Mike Clemens at Packers training camp. We had Mark Daniels at Packers training camp. Going to talk with Lily Zhao from Fox 6 about an hour from now at Packers training camp. So all of that coming up. We'll get back into some Brewers chatter as well. Brett Bielema, the head coach, former head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, the head coach now of Illinois. He had a discussion with our own Ben Kenny and Zach Cowper. Now, Ben, did he sit down with you guys, or was this at the podium?
No, it was with us. So
Awesome.
Zach told me if I did not get Brett Bielema on, I probably would not get a ride home.
Excellent.
So it was necessary. I tried all day yesterday. Talked to their guys. I talked to him, but he was busy with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The Big Ten Network always kind of comes first. So we plan around that. And then we were entering in our second to last break at, I guess it was 4:30 there, local time. And we just see him walking around. Kind of looks like he was done with everything, but I just went up, and brought him over, asked him if we could have 5 minutes. So it worked out.
Excellent. So you guys had a chance to sit down and talk with Brett Bielema, and you go ahead and set this up because I want to listen to it.
The Zach Halpern part?
Yeah,
or just Brett
just
Bielema?
in general. Just in general. I want to hear it.
So, years ago when Bielema left Wisconsin, obviously there was some bridges burned. The fan base was not thrilled with how that all ended up, how it was played. He goes to Arkansas, doesn't have any success. He is now back at Illinois, but he will be coming to Madison for the first time since leaving as head coach, he won the last Big Ten titles Wisconsin has. So very successful tenure there. When he left, there was a Wisconsin-based trend on Twitter that whenever Arkansas lost, people would tweet #karma about Bielema, kind of dancing on the grave of someone who just left this program. Zach partook at least a little bit. And that led to both Brett and his wife, Jen, blocking Zach on Twitter. So, we wanted to talk about Illinois and about Media Day and the current state of college football. But what we really wanted to ask is if he could unblock Zach.
Okay, there you go. So Brett Bielema, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't even think, is it just Brett Bielema? Is he just Brett Bielema on Twitter? What is it? What is his account?
Let me check again. I believe it's just Brett Bielema. There's one T though. BRET.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, it's just Brett. I think you'll be fine unless.
Oh no, I'm fine. Yeah, I
hashtag
follow.
karma.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure I wasn't blocked because I don't know. I don't normally partake in stuff like that, but I wanted to make sure because I'm thinking I haven't seen a Brett Bielema tweet in a while, so I'd have to go back and look at it. So anyway, so you guys had a chance to sit down and chat with him, and we're going to listen to the conversation, correct?
Yeah, audio's a bit fuzzy. There's a lot of when you're live with a lot of TV and radio stations and podiums going on. Sometimes the audio's a bit, you got to max other things, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's do this. Former head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, guy that dislikes one Zach Heilprin, which is hard to believe because Zach is such a cuddly bear. But
it's not that hard to believe.
But Brett Bielema joining Kenny and Heilprin. Here we go.
Slightly unexpectedly, we're now joined at the table, Illinois head coach, obviously former Wisconsin head coach, Brett Bielema. So year 2 as Illinois' head guy, is this different at all coming back to Big Ten Media Day after last season?
Well, last year, it was my first year, but it was the first one that had it in a while because of COVID, right? So it was kind of a coming back for everyone. I think for me personally, year 2, this is my 14th media day as a head coach. 15th overall because I came to this event as a player. So it's always a little bit different. Each year has a different feel. I think that the thing that's crazy about college football, and obviously you guys cover this for a living, but I think back in the day when it started, it used to be more about the team and about the stories of the program and the players, right? And less about the world, right? And now everything is the global look at everything from expansion to NIL to portals, which are great conversations, but I think the guys that get the short end of the stick are the players.
So, as you mentioned, it is year 2 at Illinois. Wisconsin came to Illinois last year, and that was a story, obviously. And I know, actually, when I asked you about this earlier, you don't want it to be about you, but you are coming back to Wisconsin for the first time in October, and it's going to be different, right? What are you expecting when you come in? What kind of reception are you expecting?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I had so many great friends and relationships and people. Obviously when I made the move to leave out of there was a lot said and done, right? Coach Alvarez and I are as close as we've ever been now, and back to that relationship. Paul and I have always had a great relationship. So I can't tell you what a crowd's going to do, right? But I can tell you that, the time that we had there, for me personally, a lot of the things we accomplished on the field, 3 Big Ten championships, a lot of wins, a lot of successful, young men that came in that program and left, I think, in a better spot and left the university. Have quite a few of those guys that worked for me or played for me are now with me at Illinois. So that part will be determined by the day, but it doesn't take away from anything that we've accomplished in the championships. No one's won one since I left, right? So I think the fact those championships are very special, and the fact they came 3 in a row was pretty awesome.
I was actually we had Barry on yesterday, and he was wearing his 2012-13 Big Ten ring. It means something. It stays with people, and those are championships. I mean, you go back to 1993, and it starts in 93, and you win 6, and you had a hand in 3 of those. Yeah. Those they don't die. They're still special.
Especially in this world we're in now. The first one was the last one that was played without a championship game, right?
Right.
And that was a cool way to earn it. And then the next 2 were the first 2 ever championship games, right? And the way that sequencing all came about is can never be duplicated.
So are there things you draw back upon now from your success at Wisconsin specifically that you've implemented since coming back to Illinois?
Yeah. I mean, I think as a head coach, there's so many things that I took from Barry, Coach Alvarez during my time that I worked under him, right, as our defense coordinator, and then for sure 7 years of experience there. But I do remember the day when I got the job. One of the best things I heard that day was from Bill Snyder, who actually worked with Coach Alvarez under Hayden's staff at Iowa. He's like, hey, you've been under some great coaches, right? Hayden Fry, Kirk Ferentz, Bill Snyder, Barry Alvarez, but you got the job today because of who you are, right? Don't ever forget that. And with that, also coupled with, don't be afraid to emulate, take from, and the learning experience you've had, but make sure you put your own flavor on it. So that's what I've definitely tried to do.
What are you expecting, as a team this year? It's year 2. You mentioned you have a lot of Badgers. I wanted, before I forget about it, Aaron Henry, first person I ever interviewed covering stuff.
Right?
2007, I believe, was his freshman year. Yeah. But either way, just wanted to mention that. Great guy.
Unbelievable guy.
Great guy. Year 2, though, what are those goals? Have the goals changed? Do you change? Like, is it championship, or is it what are your goals for each individual season? And does that change each year? And each year you're trying to build the program up.
So interesting. Just ask a question about what I take from Wisconsin, right? So one of the traditions I still have to this day was something I learned through coach. And, I can set goals and parameters for any time during the year, right? But the season goals are ones that need to be coming from the players. So I learned this through him. The players will vote on team goals about 10 days out from our opener. And we'll start the day with a bunch of recommendations, and we'll narrow it down and whittle it down, and the players decide the goals, right? Because it really doesn't matter what I think or what I want. It's what they want to accomplish. So I will tell you the daily mission, I think it's just better understood now, right? So as people in the building, right, we communicate, we talk, and we give information, but sometimes maybe it's not being learned, or it's not understood as well. But I think now entering year 2, it's easy to see that our players know and understand what the expectations are and what they need to do.
Quick before we let you go, really appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
Is there any restaurants in Madison, like any sites you got to get back to?
No, well, on that trip there won't be anything. When a team travels, for us, we pretty much travel in the day before the game. We usually do all of our practice, all of our facilities, all of our meetings, and then fly, and we land usually somewhere around what would be mealtime. We'll be at I believe we're at the Marriott West, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll have our team meal. We usually start meetings about 7:30, and those go till about 9. So we'll have evening meetings, and then we have basically a team snack for those guys. Usually hydration. Don't know what time the game is yet, but usually something to kind of put them to bed. And then I actually meet with my coordinators after meetings, and we kind of go through overall simple game plan analysis. Any last minute, sometimes this COVID world we're in, like you may have a guy pop up or whatever it is. So we kind of have a meeting with my coordinators, all 3, offense, defense, special teams coordinator. And then the next day is really just kind of get up and roll. If it's a later game, we'll actually supplement it with, we might go to the stadium. We might do things during the day, but I won't be visiting anywhere in Madison besides the stadium.
All right. Before we do let you go, I have to, this is a little bit selfish on my part here. Back in the day when you were at Arkansas, the karma thing, right?
The karma thing?
The karma, like the hashtag karma that went out there. I may have used it once or twice.
I got you.
And I feel like that may have led to me getting blocked on Twitter.
From me or
by you?
Excellent.
I'm wondering if it's possible to get unblocked, because I feel like I haven't used it in a long time, and I really enjoy following you.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if that'd be a possibility.
I can definitely look into it.
Okay. All right. Good. That's all I can ask. That's all I can
better
ask.
answer than we expected. Awesome, Coach. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
the time. Good luck this season.
Be safe.
There you go. Hey, kudos to Zach for stepping up and having the cojones to do it. And Brett Bielema to say, it's something I'll consider. I'll look into. That's awesome. That's awesome stuff. Now, was Bielema smiling, or did he look at him like, you piece of garbage?
I don't think his facial expression changed the entire interview. So
really,
honestly, it was a warmer answer than I expected. I kind of expected some eye roll, and then, he ran away. But no, I think I at least saw a little bit of the humor in it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Good stuff.
I texted Zach, and I would play the breaking news sounder if I got the other answer. I said, did Brett unblock? Zach says, nope.
Nope, not yet. Okay, maybe we start tweeting at Brett Bielema, hashtag unblock Zach.
I was going to get that trending, but then I just thought that would get me blocked too, and I don't want that.
Well, it shows you how much I follow Bielema, or at least read his stuff, is because I had to go back and see if I was blocked, because I haven't seen his stuff in a while. I'm not, but I had to go back and check. So maybe I'll do it and It's kind of like what you don't know isn't there to begin with. If you get blocked, well, then so be it. And if you don't and it works, then Zach is a happy guy. Might not be a bad way to go, right? Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. So that was the highlight, in addition to PJ Fleck and every Minnesota player. When you ask them how they're doing, they all say, "Oh, I'm doing elite."
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I can go find. Tanner Morgan did it. The quarterback. Fleck did it. Apparently, it's a thing that if you're a grad assistant and you're in the hallway and someone asks you how you're doing and you don't say elite, that's grounds for firing.
At Minnesota.
Correct.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
I've also heard rumblings that when Fleck walks into his meeting room and the players don't clap loud enough, he leaves and then comes back in.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you have it. I wonder how loud they'll clap when he gets canned. I wonder if that clap is louder than the clap of him walking into the room. That's what I'm going to wonder.
He was also a big Wisconsin Dells guy in his childhood.
Right. Yep. Hey, by the way, here's the thing. Speaking of the Dells, you know what I saw? And I know this is completely off topic, but you brought it up and it just reminded me. You know what's out there? Quick Trip has blow-up inflatables of their Glazer donuts. You know, like the tubes that you take down in the Dells?
But it's just a donut?
It's just a giant donut, but you blow it up and it looks like a giant Glazer donut. Somebody posted this the other day to me and said, hey, it was a close-up picture. I'm like, oh, it's a Glazer. I don't know how I knew it. I just knew it. It's a Glazer from Quick Trip. So then they took the shot back and panned back, and it wasn't on a table. It was on like a tarp that kind of looked like a table, looked like a blacktop table, but it was on a tarp. And then the guy standing there with it under his arm and said, I'm off to the Dells. He's got a giant Glazer inflatable donut. I don't know what. I'm just saying the Dells made me think of that, but anyway, I don't know. I got Glazer donuts seeping into my subconscious, I guess, that are coming forefront. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. This portion of the program, not brought to you by the Glazer Donuts, but brought to you by, at this point in time, our friends from Robert's Specialty Meats downtown in Waukesha, Sunset Drive to be exact. Go to robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com for the best in brats, hot dogs, but those Al Capone roasts, those steaks, those ribs on a stick. Perfect for tailgating. They've got the garlic parm chicken skewers as well. So much good stuff down there at Robert's Specialty Meats. Sunset Drive in Waukesha. They're getting a whole new facade out front, too, as a matter of fact, on the building. But go to Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha.com, and it makes your mouth water. Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Crosby, the kicker for the Green Bay Packers. Welcome back to the program. He had a chance yesterday to sit down and chat with some of the media members, including our own Mike Clemens. And obviously, he's starting on the PUP list, which raised a few eyebrows about his physical health and his condition. This is Mason Crosby sitting down talking with the media. Here you go.
What's holding you back right now?
I just I had my knee got a little tweaked there in OTAs, and just trying to manage that. And when you do something long enough, there's always there's something that every once in a while you got to deal with. And so I'm just dealing with a little right knee thing right now.
So I'm not a doctor, but you were at the soccer game and you could see that you had little Band-Aids on your knee.
You're not a doctor?
I'm not, nor do I play one in the locker room.
Yeah.
But you've done a hell of a lot during your career.
Yeah.
And that right knee is pretty valuable.
Yeah.
How concerned are you, and how's the timeline kind of looking for you to be able to be back to being yourself?
I feel like our plan and the process that we've been going through so far is really good. So I'm feeling stronger every day. I'm feeling like I'm moving in the right direction. So obviously week one is the most important thing. But I'm pushing and staying on a really good regiment so that we don't have any setbacks, don't have any things where it's like, okay, knee doesn't feel good, and we're pushing through that. So plan is to be ready for week one, but start progressing here in the next couple of weeks or so.
Did you have the procedure shortly after OTAs wrapped then?
Yeah, I did. It was just a minor scope thing. I like to say it's like an oil change. It's like after doing something repetitive for a long period of time, there's going to be some stuff that I just didn't feel like I could really push through and try to grind through. And for me, that's always my thing, is just put your head down, keep working, keep going. And now it just gives me a definitive kind of stepping stone of hitting marks and things like that. But I feel like my progress is really good so far, and I'm expecting a full recovery. It's not something that's going to linger or be a problem.
And it ruined your golf season?
It did slow down, yes. Yeah. So the golf game, Oneida has not seen me out there in a while, but hopefully it doesn't affect that in the long term either.
Year 17 for you. Do you feel like you have to take a five?
There you go. That's it. Mason Crosby talking to the media. Just kind of cut out. We've had some technical things going on today. Some weird stuff happening. But nevertheless, Mason Crosby just waiting to come back, getting the okay. And the right knee is the knee that he kicks with. So obviously that's, an area of concern. And you always wait and see how things are going to heal, what kind of soreness there's going to be once he gets back onto the field. But you got to think that it's going to be sooner rather than later. So there you go. Some other news around the rest of the NFL, by the way. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost their Pro Bowl center today. Non-contact drill. Looks like it was, quote, a serious injury. So not quite sure what specifically it is as of yet, but you already have one significant injury to an offensive lineman in training camp for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if they lose their starting center, man, that's detrimental. Now, again, when you talk about a Pro Bowl guy, whenever you lose that, it gives you an entire season to work a new man into that position. But that's tough, man. If you lose somebody specifically for the entire year in training camp during a non-contact drill. But this is the reason why, going back to what Mark Daniels said, training camp isn't the way training camp was. It's just not, it's, I remember two-a-days, board drills, sprints, a lot of running, because that was when you came into camp to get into shape. Now they expect you to be in shape. It's not about that anymore. And it was two-a-days. Remember, it was like two-hour practice. You were like on the field for 4 hours, installing plays, installing your offense, getting it ready. Now it's about an hour and a half. Then it's classroom, testing, going over what it is you just learned, taking a look at the film that you just had, trying to, get the most out of it physically and mentally without being physical, so to speak. So it just a whole different atmosphere from 10 years ago, from 15 years ago, from 20 years ago. I mean, I started covering the NFL back in, 1990, and that was still two-a-days. And, it was pretty grueling, specifically in the heat, but man, it's just not the same today with all the changes that have gone on with the Players Association, obviously with the amount of money that you're paying some of these guys. The Packers rookie receiver Romeo Doubs, kind of the early stars so far in the first couple of days, made some big plays each of the first two practices, Wednesday and today, including a couple of touchdown catches from Aaron Rodgers. Remember, I had said at the time when they drafted him and you started to look at him, as much as Christian Watson looks the part, and as I think Wayne Larrabee said it best, you have to understand it, but he said he's not really grown into his body yet. And by that is, you got all the physical attributes. You just kind of got to put it all together. You have to put it all together with your knowledge, your reaction, your abilities, your physical attributes go with your mental attributes and what you want your body to do in that split second. So he's still growing into that. But Matt LaFleur, who wants consistency, Dubs has been consistent so far. He produced back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to finish his career at Nevada. And I'm not going to say they're really relying on him, but I thought if there's going to be a rookie standout, I think it's going to be Dubs more so than Christian Watson. Christian Watson, I think, has a higher ceiling, but Romeo Dubs might be the guy. And early on in practice, he has shown all the ability to run routes, catch passes, and have good hands with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football, without a doubt. So speaking of having the hands, Alan Lazard, you're going to hear from him as well coming up in the program. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
This July at Potawatomi, make your summer even better by winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. For your chance to win, just play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. Over 100 winners every Thursday. So go ahead, book that beach vacation, that up north cottage getaway, or make it a staycation to remember. Your summer just got even better, only at Potawatomi. Learn more at paysbig.com/summer. Must be 21 years old to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you on board. Hey, our friends, it's Skipper Buzz reminding you summer's still here. If you're looking for a boat, if you're looking for service, or maybe as it starts to wind down, you get into September and October, they're also talking about storage, winterization, covering it, wrapping it, that kind of stuff. Get a hold of our friends over there at Skipper Buds. Go to skipperbuds.com or get a hold of my buddy Todd out there in Waukesha, Pewaukee area, 262-544-1200, 262-544-1200. Huge selection of yachts, pontoons, sport and deck boats, fishing boats. They've got it all. Pontoons arriving like almost daily. They got all kinds of stuff coming in all the damn time out there. Stop in and check it out. Speaking of Pewaukee, real quick, our friends over at the Sunset Grill, if you're on a boat, they have the docks out. Stop in, pull up, tie up, then head on over, stand on the deck, head inside, cool off a little bit. But they've got great food, great beverages, all different types, craft brews and such. But that's Sunset Grill on Pewaukee Lake. Sunset Grill, Pewaukee. Stop in. Tell Trish, who runs the place, we said hi. Walk in and ask for Trish. And just say, hey, Trish, Bill Michaels said, do you still have the leather pants? You got to ask her about it. Okay? Keep asking her. See if she's got them on that day, for that matter. There you go. That's our friends over there at Sunset Grill, Pewaukee. Sunset Grill in Pewaukee. All right, let's do this real quick. I wanted to get back into the Brewers stuff real fast because apparently coming out of the second half of the season, the unofficial second half, when they got together, the Brewers had a meeting, an expanded team meeting, if you will. Okay? And what they did as hitters was sit down with the hitting coaches and such, and they all sat down with Connor Dawson, Ozzie Timmons, even Matt Erickson. They all sat there and said, okay, let's talk about hitting. Let's talk about our approach. Continue to work the count, continue to kind of, go for good pitches, set yourself up, work the team starters, the opponent's starters. So anyway, long story short, it seems to be paying off. Rowdy Tellez believes the Brewers' challenging schedule, by the way, played a part in the way the team kind of drifted right before the All-Star break, with losses in 3 straight games, 6 of 8 and 8 of 11. The Brewers played more road games in the first half than any team in baseball, including 3 three-city trips in May and June. Tellez says, quote, we were just getting tired. He said, it's not an excuse. We can be better, that good teams win from the first day of the season to the last day. We took our break, our time away from everybody. And when we came back, we had a great talk. It was just, let's get this right. Let's get this going. We're better than we're showing offensively. Let's do this. And it took multiple rallies on Wednesday because Burns kind of had a rough patch to open up that second inning right after Rowdy Tellez had the 3-run homer in the first. And it kind of went from there. But Burns settled in. He retired the next 13, as a matter of fact. And the Brewers got the lead with a 5-run rally in the fourth. And that was Rowdy Tellez's second 3-run homer of the day, by the way. And then it went from there. But the offense, plating 42 runs and a mass number of walks in the home series to start things out, averaging 8.4 runs per game. At least that meeting, which usually baseball, you don't necessarily carry over meetings. It's not an adrenaline game, but sometimes if you can reset the mindset, it can change. Maybe that's what the meeting of the mind supposedly did, was reset the mindset, but certainly it's paid off. Now we'll see if it can continue on the road. Off today, back at it again tomorrow. They're at Fenway in Boston with a weekend series with the Red Sox. Interleague play begins for the Brewers, at least on the road. They just had it with the Twins, but so we'll see. But a good start. Now you wait and see what's going to happen next. Benintendi is now a New York Yankee. Josh Bell's still out there. There's talk about J.D. Martinez in Boston. So as we talked a little bit about yesterday, could the Brewers go into Boston with Martinez in one dugout and leave with him in their dugout? You know, we'll see what they end up doing if they pull anything off. Or is Josh Bell or somebody else in the crosshairs? But the Yankees got Benintendi and just needed him for a few weeks. So they went out and got him. It's just, again, almost blatantly unfair the way things are done. But that being said, that was one of the first real moves to be made. Ohtani is possibly out there now. He could be on the trade blocks. Obviously, there's Juan Soto, who's out there right now. He's a guy that could be on the trade blocks. So there's many other players of big ilk that could be out there, and some of those mid-level guys could end up falling, and maybe the Brewers walk away with a little bit less. So anyway, just one of those things. But the Brewers offensively seem really to kind of put it together in these last couple of series, which is a good sign. Now, whether or not they can actually keep that going, we'll have to wait and see. But I'll tell you this, Hunter Renfroe hitting the absolute hell out of the baseball right now. He started the unofficial second half of the season on fire, smoking it. So we'll see if Hunter Renfroe, who is going back to Boston, coming over from Boston, going back to Boston, we'll see if Hunter Renfroe is able to pick up where he left off and continue to play extremely well, especially in the series going back to Fenway. So cross your fingers. Good stuff. What else do we got coming up? We got Alan Lazard coming up. We're going to hear from him. We got Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee. She's coming up just after the top of the hour to begin the final hour of the program. So, Ben, real quick, I know that there was a lot of discussion, and I thought it was interesting regarding the Big Ten. And I want to get back into this coming up after the break. But with college football, the expansion, I know Barry Alvarez addressed it a little bit. When you guys were there, when you and Zach were at the Big Ten Media Days, did you get the sense that the Big Ten is, one, not done, but that, you know, was there a lot of talk about Notre Dame and what Notre Dame is or isn't going to do?
Yeah, just because they feel like the first domino in everything. Definitely do not get the sense the Big Ten is done. Kevin Warren said that we're entering a 3 to 5 year period of real change in the sport, kind of pointing to we're at 16 or we will be soon. But that number could rise if the situation, you know, presents itself. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of talk really amongst the media members about Notre Dame, but nothing concrete. I think it's the same. It's really on their clock what they decide to do.
Well, let's talk about this when we come back. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, talk a little bit about Big Ten, possibly college football expansion, the playoffs as well. We'll get into that discussion after the top of the hour. Go back into the Packers chatter. Lily's out from Fox 6. Going to hear from her. She's going to join us live from up in Green Bay, I believe. And then after that, we're also going to hear from Alan Lazard as he spoke with the media as well. And he's obviously being relied upon heavily from Aaron Rodgers and company. So we got a lot yet to go. We're not done by any stretch of the imagination. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Mountain Dew Pull Tab Game is your chance to win an adventure-ready Winnebago Revel from Quick Trip. Go off-road and off-grid with a fully equipped Winnebago Revel by playing in your Quick Rewards app. Earn extra plays by purchasing participating Mountain Dew Energy, Bubbler, Muscle Milk, or Evolve beverages with Quick Rewards. Adventure begins where the pavement ends with Quick Trip and Mountain Dew. Download the Quick Rewards app today. No purchase necessary. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held their first practice in helmets and shorts. Matt LaFleur kicked things off with a morning press conference.
You guys don't seem as excited as I am.
LaFleur begins his fourth season as head coach.
It's always exciting just to get everybody back in the building. And I'll tell you what kind of got the juices going was just going to that soccer match the other night.
Packers GM Brian Gutekunst revealed the left tackle David Bakhtiari is on the PUP list after having another knee surgery this spring.
Dave had a very significant injury, much more than just an ACL. He did have another procedure in the offseason, but I think that, we're cautiously optimistic.
This is the third knee surgery for Bakhtiari in 19 months.
Obviously, had surgery in the offseason, cleaned it up. Concern level, low. Really like where I'm at, especially compared to where I was just overall last year.
And earlier this week, the Raiders' Davante Adams was asked what's it going to be like going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr.
I mean, anytime you change quarterbacks from, a Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer, you go, both are great players and great to be around.
Aaron Rodgers was asked what it'll be like going from Davante Adams to Alan Lazard.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough going from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. From Davante to Allen, it's going to be, a transition.
That's Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. From training camp in Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
You got to hit it back. Put it in the pocket.
It's going to be nice, beautiful, actually, out, specifically over the weekend. And I'm telling you, you're going to sit outside, maybe watch some Brewers games, some interleague stuff. Maybe you can do a little boating. You got a little wine. Take a little wine with you, from our friends at Forgotten Fire. Like I said, they don't care. They don't care if you drink red wine with white meat or if you drink white wine with ice in it. They as long as you enjoy it, who cares? To each his own. But Forgotten Fire Winery, and I did find out there are people walking in to the Peshtigo Winery and saying, I'm looking for the Bill Michaels deal, which is awesome. So go in there and check that out. Check it out from our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery. Again, ForgottenFireWinery.com. ForgottenFireWinery.com. Stop in and check that out because they're good people. They make really good wine. I mean, they really do. And just enjoy it. Go enjoy it. It's made by Wisconsinites for Wisconsinites and everybody else that just wants to enjoy a bottle of wine or enjoy a glass of wine or a good cider, good carbonated cider. That's our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery. ForgottenFireWinery.com. Ask for it by name in your local grocery stores, liquor stores, wine stores as well. ForgottenFireWinery.com. Good stuff. So, Ben, going back before the commercial break, we were talking about the Big Ten, college football, the playoffs, the possibility of expansion. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a lot of talk about going beyond just the 8-team expansion for college footballs in the playoffs. They're talking about, 12 and 16 even?
16 was the hot number this week at Big Ten Media Days. Ohio State athletic director Gene Smith said that specifically, and that seemed to be there was a big meeting with athletic directors before this session, and 16 was the hot number to them.
So, and again, they'll figure all this out, but everybody always says, well, it's going to devalue some of the bigger bowls that are out there, like the Rose Bowl. My assumption is that those major bowls would then become the bowl games, those games for the playoffs, correct?
Yeah, the Rose Bowl is tough because with the Pac-12 not being the conference it used to be, you're kind of already seeing that bowl game change in meaning, at least probably fall in meaning. And that's also independently run, from my understanding. So it's been the playoff before. We saw Georgia and Oklahoma there. So, yeah, I would expect that to happen. Really, I mean, once you get to 16-team playoff or bigger even, I think what you're going to see is no more conference championship games. Because if you have two big conferences and only those feed into the playoff, then I think you're just going to see championship weekend turn into the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
It'll be more money. And I don't know how much conference championships will matter when there are only two of them.
Yeah, I'm really, it's on one hand, I hate what's going on because I love the tradition of college football. I just do. On the other hand, it's progress, and I believe, as many things that we've been reluctant to accept in the past, it's actually turned out well, specifically via intrigue and viewership and eyes and excitement and discussion, specifically in our business. It's turned into more of a positive. I go back before wild cards and such in baseball, before wild cards in football, the expansion of the football postseason and such. And obviously this past year with the extra game and an extra week and the meaning and the value to certain things. And I know it's met with a little bit of disdain, and we like to hang on to what was. But I think once we see it, we kind of go, oh, okay, this is good. It can't be a bad thing. I mean, I know that for a long time, there were people that were just pissed off that they went to a college football playoff and started to, quote, devalue the bowl games. But it's actually turned out to be pretty good. And it's so much better than going back into the old days where the writers would vote, and then the college football, the poll system was there, and then you could end up with splits of co-champions, and so it was so dysfunctional. But we hated it. We didn't want to move on, and then when we did, we thought, okay, this is good. And then if this is good, well, more is better. So now we want more. We want more playoffs. So instead of 8 teams, now they're talking 16 teams, which that would by more than cover any of the teams that we've even discussed that's been, kind of put on the outside looking in. If you can't make it into one of the top 16 and you're sitting on the bubble, well, that's your own damn fault, for lack of a better term. And it'll really get into the analysis of numbers and metrics and RPI and strength of schedules and who's doing what. And so home game versus road game, I mean, it'll really put an emphasis on that, unless you're, of course, you're in the, top 5, top 10, but it'll really put an emphasis on that stuff as well. So I know it's not something that everybody wants to necessarily embrace, but I think by the time it's all said and done, we will. So they're waiting for Notre Dame to fall. And I know they talked about this being a very, kind of a tread forward, but slowly kind of time. Who else is ripe for the picking when it comes to the Big Ten, do you think?
So schools that were mentioned, there was a report, I don't know if I'm fully on board with it, but there was a report that the Big Ten was targeting Pac-12 schools, including Cal, Stanford, Washington, and Oregon for expansion.
Stanford makes
sense. Yeah, because Kevin Warren also talked, part of the whole UCLA LA thing is that there are so many Big Ten alumni there. There are also, someone connected the dot, there are a lot in San Francisco. But I don't know if I believe the report necessarily, because I don't know why the Big Ten would do it at this point. Plus, I wonder why that report got out. It's probably the Big 12 and the schools maybe trying to increase their value, if you will. So I don't know. Until something happens, I'm not really believing anything, but definitely those Pac-12 schools.
I think you kind of hold off, like you said. The linchpin is going to be Notre Dame. You wait and see what Notre Dame does, and then after that, I think everybody begins to scramble after that. But Notre Dame, in the meantime, trying to work their own deal to remain independent. Now we're going to see if they're going to get $75 million a year plus out of NBC, and if they do, well, then their chances, I think, of joining an actual conference, I think, are going to be few and far between, unless, of course, conferences say, you know what, we're not going to schedule you. We're going to be done with it. And then you go play the minor schedules, the minor conferences, which you may go beat up on them, and you may be Notre Dame, but I still think you find yourself on the outside looking in when it comes to cracking the top 10, top 5 consistently, because you're not playing enough of a schedule within that conference or two to be. That's if they do it. Otherwise, Notre Dame just brings money to the table. Stay tuned. Another hour yet to go. Lily Zhao of Fox 6 talking Packers football going to join us coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
UD opens the year September 3rd against Illinois State.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Brewers were getting the day off after finishing off a sweep with the Twins yesterday. Rowdy Tellez hit 2 3-run homers. Crew has won 5 of 6 to start the second half. They'll open a series in Boston tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update from Zach Heil Print.
Hour number 4 of the Bill Michaels Show. Day number 2 of Packers training camp. Off day today for the Milwaukee Brewers, who are heading to Beantown. Good day to you. Good day to you. Good stuff. Going to hear from Alan Lazard coming up here in just a little bit. Looking forward to that. And we've got some more stuff regarding Brewers and also Daniel Snyder of the Washington Commanders and Capitol Hill to report. So we'll kind of fill you in on that story as well. But joining us now from Fox 6 in Milwaukee, covering the Green Bay Packers, Lily Zhao now joining us at Lily SZHAO, at Lily Zhao over on Twitter. Lily, how you doing?
Hey, Bill, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing extremely well. So give me the state of the state, if you were, regarding the Green Bay Packers, because we all know about the wide receiving core. We all know about the offensive line. If you're going to go in with a level of concern, we'll say for the division, whether or not the Vikings can catch you, what is your level of concern?
I would say sorry to Vikings fans. I don't think there's a level of concern. It's still Aaron Rodgers at the helm. It's still a very talented team. They've invested in defense. They've invested in special teams. They have a good receiving core without Davante Adams. I think they're going to be another really good team this season because, again, they have those foundational pieces outside of Davante Adams, of course, but they have those young guys who are going to get reps during training camp to make up for Tay's absence. And obviously you can't fill a role that he had on the field, but they have enough guys to get the job done. So my level of concern is very low at this point. Again, it's still early, but, we'll kind of see what everybody looks like with the pads on. But encouraging so far with the first 2 days of camp.
So the offensive line, we all know David Bakhtiari not ready, and we don't know if he's going to be ready week 1. Without Elton Jenkins, who apparently is ahead of schedule, which is great news, but with the depth issues on the offensive line, is there a level of concern there?
I would say, yeah, there's a level of concern considering, David's been out since December 2020. He's had 3 procedures now on that knee, so that's not encouraging. And, even himself, he said it's kind of been a nightmare in terms of that recovery, but it all depends on when he can get back on the field. However, at least it's happening at this time during training camp where Matt LaFleur can kind of reshuffle that offensive line. We saw Zach Tom get some work in at left tackle today, moving Josh Nyman over to right tackle. So those younger guys are getting experience at the tackle positions. They're reshuffling up front to see kind of what the best combination would be because, again, we do not know when Bakhtiari will be able to play. And, again, since Elton Jenkins is still not even a year out yet from that ACL, it's another big question of when he can come back. So, again, there is concern with when David could come back. But, again, they're not concerned that he won't ever play pro football again. It's just, when he does make it back on the field, can he be as productive as he was when he signed that massive contract? So I still have faith that David Bakhtiari is still going to be one of the best, left tackles in the game when he does make it on the field. But I guess now you're channeling that concern into, okay, what do we have with these young guys that are currently at camp right now, learning all 5 positions? And I think that's what they're focusing on right now.
Without Mason Crosby right now participating in camp, obviously you're going to get a look at Gabe. I can't remember the guy's last name, how to pronounce it. But that being said, I don't think there's any chance, unless, of course, he doesn't heal right, that Mason Crosby's not your kicker come, week 1 or at least come, early on in this training camp season. I think he'll be back out sooner rather than later. But Crosby is getting a little bit older. Give me your thoughts on Mason Crosby and the knee issue that he had this offseason and the cleanup that he had done right after the OTAs.
Yeah, I mean, it's you never want to have your kicker not be able to be on the field, and I think he said having a couple preseason games off is not going to hurt him because he's been such a vet in this game. But again, he's the one guy where when he's been at his best, he's been spectacular for this team, and we saw that dip in production last year. And you're hoping that just that year is wiped out, and he has a clean slate heading into this season and can be back into the Mason Crosby that we all know and love in the field, and he's making all those 50-yard field goals. But, I know he had his right knee scoped out a couple of weeks ago, and, I don't think there's a high level of concern because I think he's confident he'll be back out there and be just fine. And now with, even more emphasis on that, the special team unit and, the work that they have in terms of kicking, I think everything will be okay. Again, they're investing in special teams with Rich Bisaccia, so it's going to be really fun to see what that unit can do considering all the, blunders that we saw last year. But I don't think there's any sort of concern right now with Crosby. I think once he gets back on the field, everything will kind of shape back into form.
I want to ask you, we talk a lot about the special teams, but we don't talk specifics. But who do you think ends up returning kicks and punts?
Ooh, that's a good question. I know we saw a couple of those, they're talking about, veterans, are they going to do it? And, Amari Rodgers was slated in that role. I'm kind of curious to see though, if Amari Rodgers is back in that role. I know he struggled with that last year. Can he do it? Can he gain the confidence to be the guy that this team knows he can be in terms of special teams? Because that was kind of, one of the things that they liked about him, that, that special teams production, returning kicks. Maybe it's a guy like him. Maybe he has that extra confidence this season to really get things done. But I know they were talking about, maybe having veterans do, return kicks. But at this point, I think with what Rich Bisaccia wants to do with this special teams unit, it's all hands on deck. But I'm very curious to see what a guy like Amari Rodgers can do and if he can better himself if he is put in that position to return some kicks this year.
Yeah, I think just through Bisaccia, you're going to see a better special teams play this year. I know that there's a lot of optimism for it, but I think, don't you think Matt LaFleur, at least from some of his comments, is going to commit more resources personnel-wise to special teams to make that better since it was such an embarrassing third of their team in the postseason?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, I can tell you this from hearing the guys talk about Rich Bisaccia, from what LaFleur has said about Rich Bisaccia. I mean, this guy is just, he's thunderous. He doesn't hold back. He's got, a lot of fun opinions. And, it's going to be, I think it's going to be fun to watch this season because, again, we've talked about how special teams, despite who was the coordinator, it's always kind of fallen behind the offense and the defense. There hasn't been a year in a while where special teams has really shined. I think that maybe takes a turn for the better this season. Again, they're investing a lot in it. They hired a guy who turned the Raiders around. So I think this could be a very special year in terms of special teams and the guys that they have on that unit who are specializing in making this team get better field position when they get the ball. I think this is the year, though, Bill. I'm hot take that this could be a very fun year to watch on special teams. And it will not be a repeat of what we saw last year when the Packers were bounced from the playoffs.
I'm going to write that down, and that way I give you complete credit for it as somebody to say that first, because a fun year can be rising to maybe 25th in the National Football League. If they get within the top 15, I think we'll all be dancing in the streets. Talking with Lily Zhao, Fox 6 out of Milwaukee, at Lily, Lilys Zhao, Zhao, over there on Twitter. So we talked a lot about the special teams. Talk defensively speaking, there's a lot of optimism that this thing might be as good as maybe since 2010, 2011 when they actually won a Super Bowl. And that's a heavy weight to carry. My question is, do they have the depth to carry that? Not that the starters aren't good, but do they have the depth to carry that?
I think that's what they're hoping for, right? I think when you're looking at the defensive back group, I think they're pretty deep. I think they have a very, very talented DB group. Their corners are really, really good. Their safeties are coming along behind Adrian Amos. I think this is a very talented team. You got Kenny Clark, some more help up front with Devontae Wyatt. So I think they have the core pieces with the veterans, like you mentioned, but I think they're developing, and they drafted enough guys defensively behind these core veterans that they, have the potential to be a very special defense. You bring in Rasul Douglas, you bring back Devondre Campbell. Those are really core pieces that you need that can make game-changing plays. But again, a Quay Walker, Devontae White, can those guys really develop when the pads come on to, have any sort of meaningful playing time on the field? I think so. I mean, that's why they were drafted so high. They had really good careers in college. I think this is going to be a very, very good defense. And, I think it's going to be one, that they can make a lot of plays. And, you have a guy like Jair Alexander. He wasn't healthy all last year. For a majority of last season. So what can he do now that he's back and fully healthy? I think this is a really good group. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder because, these guys are always talking about we can always get better. So to answer your question, I think there is going to be depth, after training camp gets wrapped up. I think it's going to be a very, very fun and talented defense.
Offensively, I want to go back to it. I know that Alan Lazard got a lot of praise. Romeo Dubs has looked extremely good. And Dubs, by the way, is the guy that I picked to be maybe the guy that stands out the most this season. I don't know if Christian Watson's going to be that guy just yet. I know he's got a ton of talent. But with the receiving room, I know Brian Gutekunst said the receiving room they're happy with. And unless things change, they're not going to go out and make a deal right now. Your thoughts on the receiving room?
Whenever you lose a future Hall of Famer like Devontae Adams, it's, how can you regain that productivity? And, in terms of, he's always drawing 2-3 guys on the field when he was on the field for the Packers. So how do you really replace that? You can't really replace it. However, you can get those guys, those newer guys, the ones that were drafted, like a Romeo and Christian Watson, whenever he gets back. Mr. Torre, they can get those guys up to speed. Will it be Devontae Adams-like numbers? Probably not. However, I still think they can be productive. You still have Randall Cobb, you still have Alan Lazard. Those guys will really carry this offense. But I do think one of those youngsters will be the X factor for this team. And, you brought up Romeo. I think he could be that guy. And again, it's still early, but, he's making those contested catches at practice. He's high pointing the ball. I think he could have a very special year. I think, one of those youngsters could be that X factor for this team this year offensively. And while Devontae will be missed, I think they will still be good enough in the wide receiver room to say, we love Devontae, we're sad he's gone, but we're able to make up that production on the field.
Before I let you go, I'm watching numerous, NFL Live and NFL Today and Good Morning Football, and they're all talking about the Packers offense changing dramatically and how it's going to go to this run-oriented offense. I've been saying all along it's not going to change dramatically. What you're going to see is probably more movement, more motion, more working to get guys open, scheming to get guys open, but you're not taking the ball out of the hands of 12. You're back-to-back MVP. Do you agree with that?
I agree with you there, Bill. I don't think this offense is going to be we're just going to hand the ball off and have A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones get 50 reps a game, even though I'm sure they would love that, right? I think it's still going to be a very balanced offense because, again, like you mentioned, it's Aaron Rodgers. This offense is not going to be purely run motivated when you have a passer with his caliber. So I think, it's going to be a lot of motion, a lot of just misdirection like we saw last year, maybe perfected even more this year. And because when you have younger guys running it, a lot of jet sweeps potentially, I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're still going to see a lot of deep passes and, we'll see who that replacement MVS guy can be. But I still think there's going to be some deep shots that they take and they're going to work in the run and have AJ and Aaron Jones, work them in the passing game. But I don't think we're going to see a dramatic change offensively without Devontae Adams. It might be a little bit more run, but I don't think we're going to see anything dramatic.
Lily, great stuff. Great to have you on the program. We'll get back to you soon, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks so much. There you go. Lily Zhao from Fox 6 out of Milwaukee dropping some knowledge on us, talking Packers football. LILYSZHAO at Lily Zhao over there on Twitter. You can follow her there. Good stuff. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pindel, Pindel, a quality machining and manufacturing company right here in the state of Wisconsin. It's in New Berlin, Wisconsin. And if you are looking, by the way, to work with this company as another manufacturer, as somebody who needs metal parts and metal products, they're great. However, if you're looking to work for them, it's not just a job, it's a career. They really want people to take ownership of the company, and they're looking for good people and overpaying to get good people. Go to Pindel, Pindel, Pindel.com, Pindel, Pindel.com, right here in our own backyard, New Berlin, Wisconsin. Tell them we sent you, but they're good people looking for really good people. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show. on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sponsors along for the ride this year, pardon the pun, but obviously our friends at Bud Light have been with us a long time. Milwaukee Brewing, which is where we're going to stage the ride this year. The registration on site that day opens up at 11, or excuse me, opens up at 8 and kickstands up at 11. Escorted out by the Milwaukee County and Milwaukee City Police Departments. And we just a tremendous ride. It's about 75, 80 miles. 3 stops, and then a hell of a party afterwards, and pre-registration prizes that are really, really cool and very, very valuable, as a matter of fact, which is awesome. But also a 75-inch big screen TV is the prize for the winning poker hand, beer for a year, among other things. And we can't do it without some of our other sponsors that came on board. Our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino are awesome. They really stepped up this year, and we certainly appreciate them being a part of it and supporting veterans. Also, our friends at Growth Law, GROTH, growthlaw.com, growthlaw.com, one of the top biker defense attorneys and injury attorneys in the country. And they're right here in our own backyard. So go to growthlaw.com. Also, our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway, an awesome place, a lot of fun, whether it's family, guys, girls, whatever it happens to be, car enthusiasts, motorcycle enthusiasts, speed enthusiasts, Great Lakes Dragaway, tremendous place to go. And also our friends at Buzzard Billy's out in La Crosse. They stepped up this year and said, hey, we got a lot of veterans in this area. We got a lot of people who ride. They come into town for the ride, so we'd like to support it. So our friends at Buzzard Billy's out there in La Crosse, which I will be stopping at here in a few weeks, and breaking a little bread over there as well, or at least having one of those margaritas. That's for damn sure. But thanks to all of them for being a part of this and coming on board, because we cannot do it without you. Also, thanks to the Rock Complex and the Sports Complex down in Franklin, Alpine Valley, both the chalet, obviously, and then the amphitheater, and then our friends at Knucklehead. Knucklehead is just a fun place, great bar right there in Eagle. And it's right on that corner. They pretty much bought the entire block now. They've got tremendous food, really good food, not just bar food, but good food. So thanks to Knucklehead as well. And obviously our friends over there at Wisconsin Harley Davidson. But please get pre-registered for this thing. Get registered now. Simply go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. You can follow all the details there. Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Or if you want to just go straight to the link, simply go to FisherHouseWI.org. Click on the events page, and it's right there. FisherHouseWI.org. And click on the events page. By the way, I'm putting out the call now. We need about 10 people. If you're part of a ride chapter, what have you, we need about 10 people to help stage bikes. So we're looking for the volunteer group to kind of grow a little bit, just to stage them. Between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., just to stage them. And then if you want to ride with us, ride with us. I mean, if you're going to go anyway. But we just need about 10 people to help stage bikes, which is, it continues to grow. So we've got about 800 bikes is what we're expecting this year. Hopefully, knock on wood, the weather's great, and we'll kind of go from there. So thank you so much. Alan Lazard, we're going to hear from him coming up here after the bottom of the hour. We got a lot to still get to today. So we're going to talk with Alan, or hear from Alan Lazard coming up. Let's go to the phone calls. Let's go to our buddy Mike listening to us in West Allis. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing good. How's it going, Bill?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I just listening to some of the comments, the last few days, I have some real concerns about Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, and Aaron Rodgers, this notion that they're basically anointing Alan Lazard to be the number one wide receiver before they even finish training camp. And here's why. He went undrafted for a reason, right? There were questions about his quickness, his speed, and that's why he didn't get drafted. And I think those questions still remain. His limited production in this league comes from largely being schemed open by Matt LaFleur and having a Hall of Fame wide receiver on the other side. His best attribute is blocking. How can you be a number one when your best attribute is being a good blocking wide receiver? And, I look at the NFC playoff teams from last year, Bill, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Buccaneers, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. I look at their depth charts in terms of wide receiver. I look at Alan Lazard. I don't think he would ever see the field if he was on any of those teams based off what they have at wide receiver. So I just want to know, is there something that I'm missing here in regards to Alan Lazard? I think Doubs and Watson are far more talented and have a lot more potential. And just in the 2019 draft alone, we saw Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. There's a couple other guys that I'm missing that none of those guys were first-round picks, and they all had over 800 yards in their first year.
Right.
And were difference makers in year one. So this isn't the 1990s anymore. Guys are making an impact in year one, and I just feel like they're really selling Doubs and Watson short for ultimately what they could accomplish this year. And I just don't understand this love affair with Alan Lazard, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
No, I completely agree with you. Look, I think Alan Lazard is good. I don't think Alan Lazard is great. And that's the difference, is that I think while he is a good wide receiver and serviceable, I don't think he's the best, the most top-notch wide receiver there is, because otherwise we would have seen it, right? I mean, that's just it. We would have seen it. So I really think, my opinion is that I think he's going to be good, but I don't necessarily think that he is going to be like great, like many people are kind of picking, so to speak. So we'll see. I mean, but I'm with you. I'm like, I've got my arms folded saying, show me something. I mean, if he was great, don't get me wrong. There's a couple of plays in that the NFC playoffs when they forced the ball to Devontae Adams where Alan Lazard's wide open.
True.
So I'm you know, he can get open, but I don't think he has overwhelming speed. I don't think he has overwhelming leaping ability unless he's become an incredibly crisp route runner all of a sudden. I don't think he's like this elusive cat that can get downfield. Nobody can hang with him. So, but I'm with you. I think just because of osmosis, because he's the guy that's there, he's anointed as this number one, and they're expecting big things from him. Granted, he's been giving you on average about 50 catches a year, but for him to go from good to average to great, he's got to go to about 85 to 90 catches a year and get you well over 1,000 yards. I don't know if he can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you, Bill. And this isn't me just ragging on Alan Lazard. I think he's a decent player. He's a solid role player. Keyword, role player, not a star player. You know, he has 1,500 yards in 4 years receiving in this league with the best quarterback in the NFL. And that's when they didn't really have a clear-cut number two the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a prime Randall Cobb or James Jones or Greg Jennings to be that number two. And Lazard really didn't emerge until last year. And even, you know, he put up number three type numbers. And I just think that they're asking a role player to be a star player. It would be like the Bucs saying, Grayson Allen, hey, you're a decent role player. You're a solid role player. We want you to go ahead and be the guy for us. We want you to lead this offense, you know, to a championship. That's what I would compare it to. That's where my concern comes in. I would prefer it if they were like, you know what? We like what we have in this room. There's a lot of potential. You know, obviously the guys that have been here in the past have the upper hand, but we want to see how this shakes out, you know, during training camp and who really emerges as the number one. I would just prefer that type of attitude from Matt, from Goody, and from Rodgers before anointing Lazard as the number one.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree, man. Appreciate the phone call. Good call as always, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Look, I agree with him. I think there's and I'm not ragging on Alan Lazard by any stretch of the imagination. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying he's good. But if he was great, we probably would have seen it. You know what I mean? We would have seen something by now. That way, I mean, I think Alan Lazard is average to above average. Maybe that's all there is. Average to above average. But I don't think he's great. Some people are looking at him going, "Oh, well, they're fine." Alan Lazard, he's good, no big deal. He's great. See, I don't look at it like that. Not at all. I look at Alan Lazard as a very serviceable receiver. You know, his best year was, let's see here. His best year when it comes to receiving really was last year, 40 catches. So 40 catches out of 60 targets. They've thrown to him on average 50 times. 2019, he had 35 catches. 2020, he had 33. 40 catches last year for 513 yards. Averaged 12.8 yards per catch. The year before was 13.7. The year before that was 13.6. Had 8 touchdowns last year, though, which is not bad. Not bad. But the catches are going to, in that 15, 16 game realm, are going to have to go from 40 to about 80 if you think that he's going to be this breakout guy. If that makes sense. I don't know. I don't necessarily see it. I don't see it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give me your thoughts on that. When we come back, we will hear from Alan Lazard, who had a chance to catch up, and Mike Clemens actually caught up with him, but they had a chance to chat a little bit. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at The Nice Ash, downtown Waukesha, 323 West Main Street. Good cigar bar, good entertainment, good scotches, brandies, bourbons, you name it. They've got some high-end stuff down there and just some everyday stuff down there, plus beers and all that kind of stuff, hookah. But stop in theniceash.com. That's theniceash.com. And as they say, get your ash in here. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I hate being late to the ballpark. You just missed a home run. Gina Della for Pella. I can't believe my seat is next to yours. Peanut? I'm allergic to them. Aw, nuts. You know, I'm always late to things. No one procrastinates like me. The worst is that I missed out on that incredible deal you were offering at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Missed what? It just started. Get beautiful Pella windows and pay no interest for 4 years. That's the one. Imagine the money you'd save by not paying interest for 4 years. Okay. Don't rub it in. Rub what in? The deal just started at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Seriously? Yep. You're just making an exception because you feel bad for me. No, for real. It's hard to believe that a deal this good exists, but it does. You just missed another home run? Oh, this is too important. I'm trying to find the website on my phone. It's PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Last 7 months.
I moved back to Iowa, Des Moines, born and raised, and I went back up to Iowa State. I went to school at, those guys did a phenomenal job taking care of me from a conditioning, workout standpoint. I was able to work out with the team there, so I was able to kind of get two birds in one stone. You know, I was getting my personal benefit, but I was also getting the competition and like teaching those guys as well.
What's your opinion on the current state of this wide receiver room, and do you feel like you could be wide receiver one in this room with no Devontae?
Absolutely. You know, I've never wavered on the belief in myself to be able to step up. You know, obviously when Devontae was here, his talent is extreme, is tremendous. You know, undoubtedly he's the best wide receiver in the league right now. Undoubtedly he's the best wide receiver in the league right now. And probably will be for a while, but that doesn't mean.
Last 7 months.
Sorry, I moved back to Iowa, Des Moines, born and raised, and I went back up to Iowa State. I went to school at, those guys did a phenomenal job taking care of me from a conditioning, workout standpoint. I was able to work out with the team there, so I was able to kind of get two birds in one stone. You know, I was getting my personal benefit, but I was also getting the competition and like teaching those guys as well.
What's your opinion on the current state of this wide receiver room, and do you feel like you could be wide receiver one in this room with no Devontae?
Absolutely. You know, I've never wavered on the belief in myself to be able to step up. You know, obviously when Devontae was here, his talent is extreme, is tremendous. You know, undoubtedly he's the best wide receiver in the league right now. And probably will be for a while, but that doesn't mean that I'm far behind him from that standpoint. And I learned a lot from him. He's taught me a lot, not on the field, but off the field, and how to carry yourself as a professional and as a man as well. So I'm thankful for my time with him, but, you know, things move on, and it's a different age now.
Do you feel yourself stepping into a leadership role right now?
Absolutely, but I've taken on a leadership role, you know, probably 2 years ago. So I think I got a lot of respect for the guys in this locker room, the coaches, and around the league as well.
Every year in the NFL, you have opportunity. What do you feel your opportunities this year?
What do they give me? You know, I think that's what the NFL is. It's you only get about 60 plays or so on offense. So you got to run the ball sometimes. You got to pass the ball. And not every pass can go to every wide receiver. So it's just as far as capitalizing on those opportunities and making most of that.
This team is no stranger to national attention, but obviously a lot of eyes are going to be back on this offense this season. What's it going to be like with that kind of pressure? Just know that everyone's watching.
I mean, playing for the Green Bay Packers is a high standard, high expectations every single year, whether it's this year or 2019 when I first got here. So I don't see it any differently. You know, I see that no matter who's out there, the 11 people on the field, they have a standard to uphold. And if they don't do that, then there's changes that need to be made. You know, it's the expectation is to bring the Lombardi Trophy back home where it belongs. And we failed the past few years, and our goal won't change this year at all.
How does the shape of that leadership take the shape coming into the season with so many rookie wide receivers?
I think it's just a lot of just beginner level stuff of just going about meetings, taking the individual teaching, coaching, and applying it to the team here, and just being an overall pro. We got a lot of young guys in that room. And yeah, I think it's just, learning those guys, and it's really maximizing the most out of them and their ability. It's not, we need you to be this person. It's, we need you to be the best version of yourself and figure out how you can help out this team in whatever way possible.
Alan, what is kind of your first chance to see some of those rookies?
Yeah, I mean, one day at practice, it's hard to really tell of everything. Limited reps, and you get a lot better feel when you watch film. You see something live on the field. And, Dobbs had a few good plays today. And a couple of other guys too, but I think it's just it's a growing process, a learning process. We have 14 practices, 13 now before we get our first preseason game. So it's just about as far as improving every single day to go out there and perform well.
Alan, what does it take? What did it take for you to earn 12's trust, and how do you think these rookies will do that?
Consistency. I think that's the biggest thing. Consistency. If he knows where you're going to be, if he knows how you're going to run your route, and all that, I think that's probably the biggest thing. And just working hard. And you just got to show him that you care. I think that was my biggest thing when I first came here, is that I just wanted to earn his respect. I knew earning his respect was showing up every single day, working my ass off, and being consistent. And I think gradually as time went on, we built this chemistry, and it kept growing from there.
I got to ask you about a specific play today. Deep ball down the middle. You beat Adrian on that high point.
Yeah.
What does that take? Would you have been able to do that last year? How has that shown your growth as a wide receiver, both from the route running standpoint and at the catch standpoint?
I don't think it's anything different from my past. I've been a big receiver. I've always high pointed the ball, especially on deep balls. Adrian's obviously a great player, and it made a tremendous play. It just happened to the ball landed on my leg, and I was able to kind of scoop up and make a good play. But I think it's more so just Aaron sees the play. It wasn't the best look that we wanted for that specific play. And, he's like, well, who should I throw it to really? And just kind of really put a lollipop up there, a moonshot, and just kind of see what the results are. I think that's something that we really do and emphasize in practice, and especially at minicamp, for him, just to see, are you able to make those plays? Can I trust you in this situation? Because it's 3rd and 10, we're backed up on the 40-yard line. He may just do that because it's a one-on-one play, and that's those type of plays are the momentum shifters in the game.
There you go, Alan Lazard talking to the media yesterday and feeling like, look, I can come in, I can fill in. He's not going to be Devontae, but he says he has. I mean, what are you going to say at this time of year, though, right? I mean, you like the confidence. You want him to have confidence. You want him to feel good. You don't want him to come in and go, boy, it's going to be hard to replace Devontae. I don't think we can do that, No, come in and say, look, I'm going to be the best I can be. I'm going to come in and do good things. I'm going to be ready to go, all that kind of stuff. So Alan Lazard meeting with the media yesterday inside the locker room after the Packers' first training camp session. So good stuff there. Couple of things. First of all, I want to go back to the emails. Our buddy Steve says, going back to the Brewers and the trade deadline, he said, as far as that's concerned, I think the idea of Josh Bell is good, but I think they might go after Brian Reynolds. That could make more sense. He has decent bat, but also can fill the void in center field left by Lo Cain. Last I looked, he is hitting .254, 15 dingers, and an OPS or an on-base percentage of .335. He could be a great addition, and the Crew did try to trade for him last year. Don't forget, great 5-1 homestand. Now a 4-2 or 3-3 road trip will be great. 12-game start to the second half of the season. That's our buddy Steve listening to us in Ridgefield. They did try to trade for him last year. It's interesting because there's a lot of just little rumors starting to kind of emerge. You're waiting for Juan Soto to fall. You're waiting for some of the sub pieces to fall as well to find out what the value is going to be for Ohtani, for Soto. Benintendi obviously is now off to the New York Yankees. They made the move for him last night. So we'll keep you up to date. But a lot of rumors floating around right now about the Milwaukee Brewers, but more so what they can afford. Because obviously if you're the Brewers, you want to get a guy with, the ability to have him for a year or two with options. That's their primary goal. But it's not like the Brewers to find a rental player for 3 months, but I don't think with this team right now, the way it is, out of the realm of possibility. So let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. Don't forget about our friends at San Giorgio, downtown Milwaukee. Some of the best Italian food you're ever going to put in your grill. San Giorgio, Calderon Club. Don't forget, sit-down Italian meal or San Giorgio, which is authentic Napolitana pizzeria. Really, really good stuff. They pair it up down there with Cider Boys from Point Brewing, and they got such a good thing going down there. Go in and say hi to Gino. I just saw that whole thing was on, I think it was one of the local television stations when they were out and about talking about success stories and successful restaurants in downtown Milwaukee. Also, benefactors of some of the new things that are going in, the new hotel going up next to the Fiserv Forum, obviously the RNC coming here. So some really, really good stuff regarding our buddy Gino and the whole gang down there at Calderon Club and San Giorgio. Stop in, tell them we said hi. Going to wrap things up. Coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held their first practice in helmets and shorts. All the players, except the quarterbacks, now wearing a padded headgear over their helmets in practice. The NFL trying to cut down on concussions. One player not participating is rookie wide receiver Christian Watson, who's on the PUP list after minor knee surgery last month. Will it be hard for him to learn from the sidelines? Packers head coach Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a challenge. No question, because there's nothing like reps, especially full speed reps. I think he's been pretty impressive in terms of how fast he was able to pick everything up. He's working hard, but there's still nothing like those game reps, whether it's preseason reps or practice reps.
Left tackle David Bakhtiari had another procedure on his knee during OTAs. Aaron Rodgers suffered a torn ACL while playing basketball in high school. How concerned is he for his friend Bakhtiari?
Well, I mean, as somebody who's had a knee injury since they were 16 years old, I know how difficult rehab can be and different procedures, and maybe never feeling like it's 100%. But I think Dave has learned a lot over the last year about his knee and about how to take care of it the best that he can.
And another player on the PUP is place kicker Mason Crosby.
I had my knee got a little tweaked there in OTAs, and just trying to manage that.
So did that require surgery?
Yeah, I did. It was, just a minor scope thing. I like to say it's like an oil change.
That's Packers kicker Mason Crosby. From training camp in Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Got a real nice note from Kathy and her husband Dave, who stopped out last week. They went to Wednesday Night Live, but prior to that, they stopped over on 84th Street to the Wrestling Taco, and obviously no Wednesday Night Live last night, but last week it was good. They said they had a great time. Had a great time. Could not believe that they actually have theater seating inside the restaurant for the big screen TV, which hangs on the wall. So if you just want to sit there and eat some tacos and drink a margarita and watch sports, you can. But they had a great time, and they said thanks for the heads up. They didn't even know it was there. That's it. We do a lot of that for some small businesses. And I don't want to say small business in the sense that it's a bad thing, but it's not massive chain restaurants or box stores. So we try to take care of those who take care of us. And we got a lot of great people we work with. And the Wrestling Taco on 84th Street is one of them. So I want to remind you, next week when you're heading out to the Wisconsin State Fair, say you want to go get something to eat before you get to the fair, so that way you're not eating stuff on a stick all day, or maybe after you've been out walking around in the sun and a few beverages, head down to the Wrestling Taco right there in West Dallas on 84th Street, couple of block and a half south of the main State Fair corner right there. So stop in and tell Marcus and Nicole and everybody that you heard it here, because we try to push as many good people as we can into good establishments, and they're one of them. What makes sense this season, specifically the preseason? A lot of talk about whether or not Aaron Rodgers, who has not played a snap in the preseason since 2018. Matt LaFleur, though, did discuss the possibility this year. He says Aaron Rodgers playing in the preseason game is, I think what he said is kind of up for discussion. And with all the new receivers, obviously, faces doing different things, he says that the discussion, hasn't really taken place yet, but he didn't shut the door on the possibility. What makes this season different than the last three, basically, is the Packers could look very different this year offensively, because you've got different receivers, new receivers trying to emerge. Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins, both on the PUP list right now, but you're trying to get those guys back. Romeo Doubs is a rookie. You've got new guys, new faces, and new guys that you're kind of relying upon. And obviously, there's risks. We all know this. There's risks to letting a quarterback play. Hell, we just saw the Pro Bowl center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a non-contact drill go down with a season-ending injury, or at least what's believed to be a serious injury, which would almost require season-ending surgery. But the risk is there. And the Packers, they've had some bad luck with playing starters in the preseason before. In 2015, you lost Jordy Nelson, tore his ACL. They were without him the whole year. And if LaFleur has Rodgers play, it's going to be hard to imagine Aaron Rodgers playing more than a couple of series. So the question is, do you need the extra reps? Do you need to get a little bit of a look? Or do you just say, you know what we're getting in practice is by far enough to know exactly what it is we have? But that's the discussion that's going on right now. So whether or not you would play Aaron Rodgers, and going back to when we discussed earlier about the differences in training camp, normally you're, by all means, man, you're sending out your starters and you're getting them worked on and you're getting them banging around and all that kind of stuff. Now, with the money and with the value specifically when it comes to quarterbacks, as we know it's a quarterback-driven league in the NFL, do you really want to do that? So it's something that Matt LaFleur is kind of kicking around right now, and they have yet to have that discussion. So now we're up to wait and see status, but it's going to be a hell of a debate. Can't believe that's it. It seems like we just got started. I had to look up and I was like, holy mackerel, we're in the last hour of the show. And sure enough, here we are at the end of this thing. Good stuff. Brewers off tonight. Back at it tomorrow in Beantown. We'll talk about that and preview it. Mike Clemens for a full hour just about of the program tomorrow as well. Plus, we'll hear more from inside the locker room. More of Packers training camp getting underway. Ben, go enjoy. Well, somebody getting married? You got a wedding coming up?
My cousin this weekend.
All right.
Can't wait.
It's not marrying another cousin, is
it? No.
Okay, just checking. There you go. So Ben's off tomorrow. Rowdy will be in. We'll have a good time. But until we talk.